Hello and welcome back to RSC Season 5. Today we have tonight we've already had the Challenger playoffs, which ended in a less than spectacular fashion. We wouldn't be amiss to say that the semi-final was more like the final, as it was such a crazy series that Archeon and Senji had to cast. The first match ended up in a bit of an upset for the first place team, getting taken down by Stenstrench, the fourth seed, which in an unexpected match, to be honest. What would you think will we see going forward from Minor, considering how crazy the Challenger playoffs seem to go on, Emma?
Yeah, so hi everybody. Essentially, we saw it was a very close match between the second and third seed teams. So it's always going to be a closer matchup than what you'd expect in the first semi-final. But obviously, these guys they've got the higher skill level to back them up. They're in the next tier up, so you could definitely hope to see a bit more sort of skill in terms of the mechanics, the positionings, the rotations. So I'm excited for this one, especially after what the challenges have put on for us. Minor will have a tough act to follow that up.
As am I. It took a lot of out of Archeon the last few series, destroying his voice as well as the viewers' expectations, but hoping to see a little bit more consistency, a little bit more pace perhaps going forward into these minor matchups. And the very first matchup that we have for you is the Slippery Scooters versus Slifer, the first versus the fourth seed, which is a matchup that could go either way, I feel. Despite the fact that the Scoots have swept their last four matches prior to playoffs, one of those was a forfeit win, but you could see that their form is there. It's something that they've been cultivating going towards playoffs, that they've been showing these other teams that have come with them into playoffs that they're here to play. They're not gonna bow down to them just because it's elimination time essentially.
Yeah, and as part of that dominant performance in the last half of the season as well, they've got a 4-0 over Slifer in their most recent head-to-head against them. In the first half of the season, though, when they matched up, it was Slifer who actually took the win with a 3-1 series score in that game. So these guys, they can go back and forth. Obviously, as you mentioned, Slippery Scooters are more in form coming into this, and they're higher up on the leaderboard. They've topped the league, so they'd be the favourites coming into this for me, Vector.
Would be for me too. I'm thinking it's still going to be quite close though in a best of five series. I think it could go 3-1 or possibly even 3-2 to the Scoots. But as we saw in Challenger, absolutely anything can happen. The
Yeah,
4C can come out of nowhere, and I'm excited to get down into it as we do have the players in the lobby at the moment. We should get started as soon as we possibly can.
yeah. So I'm going to try and keep an eye on Mad Matt at the moment. I think he's the one with the most points in the minor division. He's the highest scorer and has the most assists of any player as well. So it'd be good to see what he manages to come out with in this series. Um, so if Mickey's ready as well, we'll try and get things going. Apologies for the slight delay. Obviously, it was the Challenger series overran a little bit, but I think the content was more than worth it, to be honest.
Absolutely, as we have the players joining in on the side of Slifer, Bokaj, Mash, and Stinos. But now Bokaj and Mash are both two of the highest goal scorers in the minor tier. So we're looking to see if they can get that offense kickstarted as soon as possible to get a lead up on the Scooters. But a quick chance here for Arnie. Gets a shot off the kickoff, but Mash just keeps it off his right-hand side post. As pressure's going to both sides, man might manage to keep this in the midfield for his team. Mash gets a good touch here, but not quick enough to follow it as Sabuda gets the clear. More back and forth stuff early on in the minor tier. Something you would expect a bit more pace from this. Arnie goes for the shot into midfield. Stinos can't get back. A little miscommunication from Slifer here. The Mash doesn't get the greatest touch. Probably looking for a pass, but Bokaj goes as third man. Doesn't know Stinos is back, and a quick start for Slippery Scooters.
Yeah, I mean, you'd expect to see some notes coming out, especially in a match of this caliber at the start. Right at the start of playoffs, with Bokaj unfortunately not quite in the position that he would have wanted to be in, going for that challenge. Um, but I'm sure that that's just a nervous mistake. I'm sure he'll pick things up from here.
None of these teams have played in an elimination scenario until now. And the nerves could be setting in this very first game in the semi-final of the minor tier, with Mash going at the bat wall, beats one, but taken down by Mad Matt, who has a bit more control here as Bokash doesn't want to rush this. Managed to get a 50, but wasn't strong enough. Mad Matt goes up the wall, gets the second touch, but Stenos manages to find it. Sabuda double committed, tries to put it back to the mid for Arnie, but it's third man. He can't push. Stenos with a shot. Good pass upfield from Mash, but he couldn't get his bumper onto that to try and get the equalizer here for Slifer. But the pressure's still in the Scooter's half, and Mamak tries to get a clear across. Stenos is awkward, puts it across the mid, and he's there for the shot, but Mash manages to get back and block that off, demoed for the trouble. But another chance here for Scooters as he's not dealt with off the Slifer's left-hand corner. Spuda with a great touch, puts it up the wall, expecting one of his own teammates to get there, but Arnie gets bumped out and he finishes it himself.
Yeah, I mean, at the end it was a double commit from Slippery Scooters, but that read from Sabuda, though, he reads the downbound so well and manages to get that shot off on target. I think if that was possibly saved, then they would have been struck with the counter attack, but he didn't, and Sabuda just made an impressive read to put that into the net.
Double commit offense from the Slifer as they still don't manage to get a shot on target. And Bokaj is left alone on the backline, manages to deal with it. Arnie wasn't quite there. Another double commit from Slifer leaves Stenos on his own, but Sabuda can't pressure him enough to get anything out of that. Stenos manages to put it to the mid, but Mad Matt still has pressure, puts it down to Arnie, cannot get the pass back to Mad Matt. As it's somewhat back and forth stuff, but the Scooters have got the better of it so far. Not a single shot from Slifer. They're managing to keep all the pressure on them.
Yeah, and it's good to see the teams going for passing plays as well. Unfortunately, they haven't connected with the final touch in front of net, but I'm sure if they keep going, they'll warm up into the series and they'll be looking to get good results off that.
Absolutely, something we'll expect to see a bit more consistency going forward. But Mash has a chance here going up the field. He is in a 1v2 situation. Both go, and he doesn't make that touch. Mad Matt had to save his teammate there. But again, Scoot straight back up the field, going for that counter play that they're known for. But Mad Matt wasn't quite there, had to wait for boost. Sabuda gets up to this. Not a lot of control from either team right now. The passing plays are bad, but as they go up the field, they're giving up possession rather quickly, and it's making this midfield play matter all the more as we go further into this game with 2 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, you can see a lot of long clears coming out, as you mentioned, from both teams. Just neither of them wanting to spend too much time with the ball on their side of the field and concede as a result of that. Obviously, they can't put a consistent chance on that, especially if they're throwing the ball away and the other team can just defend easily from the long clears.
With Slifer conceding 2 goals early in the series, but Stenos puts this into his own net, the most awkward aerial he's ever seen. And he puts this across. Did not expect to be getting a goal out of this. I don't think Stenos read the ceiling, didn't get called off, and his teammate just cannot read that going back. Unfortunate going down for Slifer.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he was running out of boost or ran out of boost at the end of that aerial or just was a little bit late getting up to it, not realizing he had someone else behind him to make that save. So unfortunately, he ends up putting it into his own net and just only increases the lead for Slippery Scooters. So happily take that one.
As I was saying before that own goal, the pressure that these playoff situations could put you in can be too much for some players. As Stenos is feeling that right now. He's had a couple defensive mistakes, hoping to get his teammates more involved in the defensive play, but he tries to go up the field here, doesn't get through Sabuda, but it's hit straight up to Bokach, who has an aerial chance. He's 1v2 here, puts it across. It wasn't on target, but Mad Matt did have to deal with it, as Marsh is already on here for the second touch. Up to the middle, Stenos isn't up to it quick enough, Sabuda dealt with it. But again, more back and forth, just hard clears, but a chance here for
Stenos!
Bokach puts it on the net, but Stenos puts it away. He does not want his team to score at the moment.
I think a lot of this is as a result of their communications as well. Like you mentioned, if there was someone to mention to Stenos that there was someone behind him to make that save earlier, and then there should have been a call to say that there's no one in net, just leave it. And then he wouldn't have had to try and force the redirect in around a goalkeeper that wasn't there.
Dino's defensive woes coming back to bite him on the other side of the field as well as his own. But he does get a bit of pressure here as there's 2 players on Scoots in the corner. 2 go up for this. Possible chance for Mash to put this out to the middle. zero chance for them to take this game back, but they could get a goal here as Bokash puts it off the wall. Mamat's puts it across the field. Sabuda kills it into his own corner. That will be a game 1 win for the Scooters, going 3-0 up. Bit of fortune in one of those goals, but they're definitely showing that they could control this matchup and try and get a 3-0 sweep here in the first semi-final.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the stat, you can see that they've had the vast majority of the offense as well, managing to put 7 shots on net. Um, and yes, Lifer unfortunately not quite being able to sort of match that level, unfortunately conceding that own goal. But Slippery Scooters haven't had to work as hard as they would have expected in this one.
And hopefully, as we go further into the series, the mistakes from Slifer will be less obvious, I feel. I mean, everybody's
Mm,
going to make mistakes. It's inevitable. Uh, no one would win if no one made any mistakes.
yeah,
But they need to put more pressure on the Scoots. They need to control that midfield boost. They need to get further up the field quicker. Otherwise, they're just going to be stuck in their own defense. And as soon as they try to push up the field, they're going to get hard cleared out, and they're going to have no one back on defense, or they're going to make a mistake that's just too much for that third man to handle, or even to think about handling as one of those goals went in. But hopefully, we'll see some more consistent play from both teams in the second game of the series. I mean, this is the best of 5. They only need to win 3 to get into that coveted grand final spot, and they are one game on their way so far.
definitely a great start for the Slippery Scooters. But Slifer, yes, they just need to settle into this match a little bit. Just forget about what happened in that last game and just try and fully reset themselves. This is a best of 5. They've still got potentially 4 games left to play and take the series, or just try and get the next 3 off, which will be a tough task. But this time, hopefully, they can make full use of that. But it also
Especially open
depends
a
on,
chance.
yeah, ooh,
Ooh, Stinos
just off
couldn't
the
put it on
crossbar
target,
there.
but it was a good counter from Slifer. Managed to find a couple holes in that rotation. They're absorbing that pressure and then pushing the field. A interesting flick from Sabuda. Looked like he was going to pass it to the midfield, but he didn't get the touch. Instead, got out to the left and beat one player, but it wasn't enough to keep the Scoots offense alive as Stinos managed to clear this off his corner. Doesn't get the best touch though. Is it straight to Sabuda? 2 are up, 2 last man play players are up for both teams. Stinos has a chance to keep some pressure here, but misses off the wall. Sabuda takes control, but a big 50 clear up for Mash up to the back ball. Mahamat has to deal with this, doesn't get the touch, but Annie's there to cover from Bokat's shot. But Stinos has a chance here. 2 defenders are back for Scooters. They cannot break that duck yet. There's another quick counter up the field. Up the field.
So yeah, Mash hitting this one out. But yeah, some good chances coming out for both teams at the moment. Slifer looking a lot faster than they were in that previous game as well. And hopefully they can get some momentum going early on in the second game. Slippery Scooters, however, will look to respond to that initial offense flurry from Slifer.
There's control here. Arnie beats him out first. This is going up the field, but it's not on target. It's just to the right. Arnie uses the bounce, can't get above it, can't put it down, but Manmat has the second chance just wide as well. Sinos tees it up to Mash, Bo catches it up, but Sabuda has the boost to cover it. A lot of panicky aerials coming back on defense. The rotation isn't quite there, but Sabuda gets a double touch onto the ground here as Manmat puts it down as well. Arnie with the shot. Chance Stinos just managing to break that curse, gets a good save off the back wall, but Sabuda keeps the pressure and neither of his teammates can defend the second touch. Mash just doesn't take control of this, puts it straight out to Sabuda. And as I was saying, Stinos gets a whiff on the back wall, had to go and chase that. But Sabuda puts Slippery Scooters up by 1 in the second game.
Yeah, they really need to try and get their backboard defense going a little bit. I think Stinos looked like he didn't have any boost when he tried to go up for that initially to make that save. And that ended up costing them. But all Sabuda had to do was put a shot high and then just follow it up himself. Oh, that's a shot on target though.
That was a fortunate save from Arnie. Sabuda cut into the midfield, cutting off his teammate. It could have been an easy chance for Slifer to go ahead and equalise. But still pressure here as Max gets a touch off that. And Matt put it to the corner. Then he beats one out of Bokash. Stinos has to deal with this. Probably should have controlled it as he just put possession straight back to the Scooters in his own half. But Arnie doesn't get much off of this. Stinos a bit awkward off the wall. but not much pressure from the scooters. Sabuda does eventually manage to come out for this. But 2 are up for Slifer as the miscommunication is still there.
It's missed
Not getting
though.
punished as much. Arnie misses off the wall, but Mad Matt has to go up and deal with this. Sabuda passes down to Stinos and controls it. Still has control. There's a passing option in the midfield, but just gets 50 into Mad Matt's corner. And they have control for a second.
Yeah, that was always dangerous. But I think Mad Matt was able to respond to Arnie's miss on the back wall. Good demo there from Bokaj. Has he put Bokaj in his name just to tell us how to pronounce it?
I believe that is
He's
exactly
probably
the
just
purpose.
yeah, he's probably just frustrated everybody just pronouncing it differently. He's saying the skull
Um,
straight.
I'm tempted to start calling him Bokai just to annoy him, but he gets past the field here. Stinos gets the touch. A cherry picker shot as the defense can't deal with this. Comes all the way from the other side of the field. Arnie can't go up. Mad Matt doesn't expect it. He thinks someone's going to challenge a lot sooner, but a great shot from Stinos to put that away, equalizing with a minute and 15 left on the clock. That is an important goal for Slifer.
Yeah, that's a crucial goal for Slifer, both for Stinos' confidence and both for Slifer as well, getting one on the board, their first goal of this series. And that'll be fully good reassurance for them that they can hang with Slippery Scooters as they stay level here in the latter stages of the second game.
I could see Mad Bat's getting left as the last defender quite a bit. And he's struggling with boost right now, but Sabuda goes up off the ceiling, doesn't get the best touch.
Oh.
Double commit for Sniper. Mash puts this a pinch off the ground into the tie, but Mad Matt's waiting back. He's been in his own box for the last 20 seconds, has to deal with this off the bat wall. Stinos doesn't get the best touch. Straight down to Bokaj, who controls it. Sabuda's the last man back. Could he get a chance here? Can't control it off of his hood. Sabuda kicks it up the field, but Stinos has the cover. And again, as we saw in game one, just back and forth stuff, but the scoreline is a lot closer this time around.
Yeah, Slifer are looking good as well in the sense that they're responding to the clears attempted by Slippery Scooters. And another miss comes out from Arnie on the back wall. I think he probably just ran out of boost as he went for that one. But yeah, Slifer, they're following up the clear as well. They are double committing a little bit, but it's not ending up costing them too much as they're just sort of working their way out of it.
Last chance for Slifer. Stinos misses that, but it was almost an own goal. Only just saved off the line by Arnie as we go to overtime in game two. That was a tight chance.
You can tell these guys are nervous. Slippery Scooters look very nervous in the second game. Not sure why, because they won that first game, so they have that advantage.
Now for Mad Matt off the crossbar, doesn't go down and in, but it awkward for Mash to deal with it. Stinos just manages to block the second shot. But a kick out to middle for Mad Matt doesn't get the best control. Walker tries to deal with this off to the right wall, but again, throwing away possession as both these teams seem to be doing with every single touch. When I get up to this, Stinos double commits with Bokaj, but it wasn't a massive mistake. Bokaj and Mad Matt collide on that midfield wall. Stinos gets a chance to go for this front flips to try and get another touch, but it wasn't enough. Arnie deals with it. Mash still has the pressure though. Bokaj waiting in the middle for an awkward mistake. Goes up for this, no one following him. Arnie came from behind, but it wasn't enough. And Bokaj puts it down onto the goal line to put Slifer back into this series. We are 1-1 in the best of 5. That was so close.
Mash off the back wall and Bokaj there to finish it off. Good positioning there from Slifer on that offensive play. And I think they only managed to keep that going because they had a player there to block the attempted clear by Slippery Scooters, and they've been doing that a lot more this game. Look at the number of shots, the stark contrast compared to the previous game from Slifer. It's just really impressive how they've managed to turn it around from the last game.
My heart aches for Arnie in that last play. He knew he didn't have the time to rotate. He knew Sabuda was in such an awkward position to have to try and deal with the low shot. Tried his best, but it wasn't enough. But you've got to commend to Slifer. They cleaned up their mistakes on defense. They had a lot more midfield control, and they pushed up the field. They put the pressure onto the Scooters, which is exactly what they needed. And a great showing from those three in that game. A lot of confidence built up in that one going into the third game, and I'm hoping that they can keep it up. I'm liking this Slifer team when they're getting things, you know, sorted out for them when you can see that the comms are there, and both these teams are nervous as you can possibly be. So it's just about who rises to the top beyond that, despite that.
Yeah, I think Slifer a good response after that previous game. Slippery Scooters, it looked like they were on defense for the most part of that game, but the scoreline was still extremely close. So Slifer, they're needing to put a lot of shots on to be able to get through that Slippery Scooters defense. But yeah, all level here at 1-1 going into game 3, but we've got a series on our hands here.
Sometimes that high-profile offense is what's necessary to get through the defense. They're just going to make sure they don't leave their own backline open. And they're doing well so far. But Scooters do have the start of pressure as Mamat puts it up, just rolls off the corner. Annie has a chance, not quick enough on the shot. Bokash has to boost to get to this, and then he has to deal with this going back to his own line. Passes it back to Mamat on the corner, but a heavy touch puts it straight out to Mash, who puts it mid. There's no one there for it as Bokash got demoed. Annie keeps it in the corner. Stinos can't deal with it, puts it across, just under the crossbar. Bokash cannot deal with this, as he just spawned in and got bumped by Mad Matt. Unfortunate RNG
Yeah.
for Bokash there, but Stinos could have dealt with this better.
Yeah, I think Suno's probably seeing Bokash spawn in as well in that, and that I think that demo and that respawn really breaks the team's rotation up. Mash off the kickoff. Lands one in immediately to respond.
Basically wipe the last goal off the board. That mistake is gone now. As an immediate kickoff goal from Mash. It's a great way to respond. Already 2 goals in 33 seconds.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good counter. Always a kickoff goal. You don't see too many of them in threes, but you saw one there as the shooting man got beaten, and it was essentially open net for Mash at that point.
It was a kickoff win for the Scooters, but they're getting pushed back to their own half already. As Sabuda leaves this one, Mamat puts it to the wall. Not much pressure from Slifer, but Stinos does manage to get the 50. Puts it back to the mid, but no one to follow as Bokash didn't want to overcommit for that. Sabuda down to Mad Matt, misses the pass, but he still has control as Mash didn't know what to do with it. Puts it into mid for Arnie, but Bokash takes the control, almost gets it over the third man who rushed for this. But Mad Matt has a chance going up the side. Stinos cannot get back to it.
How does that end up working out for Slippery Scooters? I thought Slifer would have had the counter attack had Mash beaten Matt. I think the last one committed, didn't he? Yeah.
They have to push forward. They have to get this offensive pressure built up. But if they leave their back line way too open, if that rotation isn't there, then they're going to find themselves conceding. It was a great shot from Mad Matt, who recognized that there was no defender back. And that can be all it takes for them to score. It looked like a quick counter chance for Slifer, but Scooters managed to get the goal. But another chance here. Stinos is already up the field, but Sabuda just managed to get back. Annie the chance, shot on goal, and another similar goal for the Slippery Scooters. The defensive rotation for Slifer just isn't there. Stinos was up the field. Bokash pushed too much, and Mash just didn't go back to his goal line after that pass. So it was an open chance for the Scooters.
Yeah, and great placement as well off that shot from Arnie as well, putting it in the bottom left corner. Slippery Scooters managing to find their goals off some more commits from the Slifer boys. Maybe Slifer expecting to be on that offense, and then immediately they get counter-attacked, and counter-attacked hard as another shot comes in from Arnie. Good save there.
Edge up for this, beats one, but gets bumped out for the trouble. Matt there for the follow. Matt couldn't read it. Bokash did enough to put this into the midfield. Matt trusted Sabuda, didn't push up the field further, but Mash read it very quickly. They're putting themselves back into this game. Still 3 minutes left to go. This scoreline could inflate massively before the end.
Yeah, incredible beat there from Mash to be able to get that past the defender. And after seeing such a last game, which was so close, a 2-1 scoreline, you've already had 5 in under 3 minutes, really. Under 2 minutes, rather. Mash's shot.
Slifer. But Sabuda got both of those blocks just on the edge of his box. Stino's still keeping the pressure. No, on in the midfield. Mash got bumped on that play by Mad Matt. Couldn't quite follow it up, so Bokash had to rush as third man. Stino's still in the offensive half, putting it up to the backboard. Sabuda's got the boost, is waiting for that. Pass down to Arnie as the passing option on the left, flips to the right. A 3-man offense from Slifer, but Bokash goes up to the backboard. Mad Matt reads it first. But Slifer have had all the pressure so far in this last 30 seconds. My apologies. But just not enough on that final touch.
Yeah, they've managed to keep it close. It looks like it's a high-scoring game. Could still be anybody's at this point, to be honest. But I think Slifer, they're sort of backing up a little bit. They seem to have realized that they've counter-attacked hard, and their answer seems to be that they're keeping more people on defense. But that doesn't matter.
As you say it, And the curse comes back once again. Sabuda barely had to do anything going up the field. He had no challenge there. Mash completely trusted Bokaj off the back wall, didn't rotate back post, and it's cost them 2-0
They just need to
deficit.
be better spaced out there on that back line. I think two players from Slife are very close to each other, and then neither of them managed to read that bounce off the wall. And then Stenos obviously is a little bit late in that rotation, but he knows that he's got two teammates there. So it's more the spacing, I think, from in defense from Slifer. They need to watch out for that and make sure that they're not too close to each other.
Again, Bokaj and Mash stuck in their own corner. Stenos pushes up the field. He knew Mash had low boost. He has to deal with Ani here. Doesn't get the touch, but it
Oh,
puts Ani in an awkward position. Bokaj pushes up the field, reads that awkward mistake from Ani. Had to deal with this sooner, but he didn't know what Stenos was going to do with it. His team doesn't rotate back just quick enough. Matt could have got to that, but Bokaj was quicker. Puts this to a 1-goal game with a minute and 20 left.
yeah, they definitely weren't expecting Stenos to make it past that last defender as well. I think he was out of boost for that final bit as well. But I think it all sort of started with Stenos taking it off Mash in that after Mash ran out of boost on the side wall. So great communication there from Slifer to get that one going.
It's what we've been wanting to see from them, but not this kind of passing into the midfield, expecting your teammates to be there. You have to communicate. You have to know as Saburo goes for a shot off the side. Mash is just there in the middle. It was straight down the middle. Bokas gets a flick over Ani. It was a bit awkward there, but it wasn't enough to beat him. As he goes off the ceiling.
That's
Zero
awkward.
boost again, trying to deal with that, but Matt has the cover.
I think Stenos would have wanted that ball to roll up the wall. Unfortunately, it just hits middle, and now it's a counter attack for Slippery Scooters. We've got two back here with Matt. You can only take a light touch with no follow up to that one, though.
One touch from Bokash, putting it up the wall. He knows that he can't get 50'd here. He can't kick out to the midfield too easily. He has the chance to boom this back, and he tries to cover it. Ura has to go up for this. He's going to put it to the corner. He is. Don't know if he communicated that to Matt, but it's left a chance open. Stenos puts it mid. Bokaj is up as the third man.
Staying on the
Back to the back ball. Stenos puts it down. But Mash is taken out as the third man option. That was a very big chance for Slifer. Some brilliant passing, keeping it away from the Scooters' defense, but it wasn't enough. As they're going to have to take control of this. Spuda, just keep it up. It's off the back wall, but it's going to drop. Mash can't get to this. Slippery Scoots take game 3.
Crucial demo for the Slippery Scooters at the end there as Stenos had that ball down for the third man. But if there is no third man, he can't go for it, and Slippery Scooters make sure that that's the case, wiping him out and securing their win in this third game.
The slightest moment there, I was expecting Stenos to go for an unbelievable shot off the back bar, but he couldn't get the angle, decided to put it down. But I believe it was Mad Matt that demoed Mash on that play, getting rid of that offensive chance, and it was enough for the Scooters, as this game was just as close as the second one, but much more high scoring.
Yeah, definitely. I think Slippery Scooters again. They've sort of found the form in that they had in the first game, turning it on to Slifer, but Slifer as well. They took their chance as well, finding good connections with each other in the opponent's half to just put some good shots on, and it was very close. It wasn't in terms of like there were small gaps that were available, and they managed to capitalize on that. They weren't sort of glaring open nets or big misses. It was just sort of small gaps, and then they sort of were able to make the most of them.
Yeah, their biggest issue was, I believe, back post rotation, as their third man just wasn't back in position quick enough to deal with the Scooters offense. But we are on match point here. If Scooters take this one, they're going to the finals, and Slifer are fighting to keep their season alive as they do to get the kickoff win. Stenos goes up onto the ceiling. There's a bit of a
I think it's good to see him, not overcome it for that. I think the initial touch wasn't quite what he wanted, and then instead of just throwing himself into that ball, he just sort of backed out. Oh!
Here,
pinball coming out here.
across the other side of the field, stays on the ground, just waits for the defense to make that mistake.
Stenos into Mad Matt, back to Stenos, into the
Ricochet.
defender.
Ricochet rocket.
Indeed.
As Stenos pushes that through the defense. Wins the kickoff as well, but Sabuda's got it off the side wall. Pressure from Arnie, but Stenos managed to deal with it, puts it up to the middle. 50, still pressure for the Scooters. Bokaj deals with it, takes that pressure off, but Sabuda has the control. Off the sideball, Mama has a chance off the back ball, wasn't dealt with. Double commit from Slifer, but it may have been necessary. But they got Demo for the trouble as Annie has control. He tries to dribble it past Dinos, can't do it. Mashes up for this quicker than Mama, but he gets to it, he covers it. Still, pressure for Slifer. And kicked out from Sabuda. Both teams and on the skin of their teeth, pretty much, defending against these opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Bokash did well as that last man as well to get that clear just before to avoid Slippery Scooters pushing. Oh, that's a double commit from the back line of Slippery Scooters. Matt is left on his own again, like you pointed out. I think he's is finding himself as the third man quite a lot. He's known as the striker for the Slippery Scooters as well, getting the most goals for them in league play. So I'm sure they would have wanted him on the front line rather than stuck alone on the back half.
It's an interesting decision from Bokaj there. Left it to Stinos, didn't want to overcommit. And it kind of left a chance glaring for Slifer to take a 2-0 lead in this game. But a pass down to middle from Sabuda, straight to Bokaj. Stinos has a second chance, but two defenders are waiting for this. Another chance from Mash, a bit lackluster. Bokaj has to follow though, puts it to the post, hits the right post, hits the crossbar. Mash tries to control it as Stinos rushed in as third man, really wanted that cushion goal, but it wasn't enough. A chance spurned for Slifer as it's going up the field. The Scooters up to the backboard. Matt doesn't read the corner of that stealing.
I had a horrible feeling that Slippery Scooters was just about to counterattack from that play. Mash though, great wall shot from him.
Slifer counterattack instead. Arnie doesn't control this because he was expecting the 50 player. Mash just booms it across. No one on the front post for Scooters. That's uncharacteristic of them. Mad Matt's not playing as well as you might expect him to. Might not be adjusting to that third man role as well as he'd hoped or his teammates had hoped. But they do have to pressure off the kickoff here. Mash has to touch this hard. It's up to Sabuda, but he still has control. Stinos puts it up to the sidewall. Mamat gets to this, but so does Bokaj, but it's off the backboard as Annie has a chance to put this in. Bounce shot. Mash is just in the way of this. Had to jump to deal with it.
Nobody went for that ball from the Slifer defense either. It was just left for the Slifer, for the Slippery Scooters player to take that shot, and then they just reacted to it. So they should really try and not be so passive, especially when a ball is bouncing so close to their net and there's multiple people in the net.
The fact that it is match point for the Scooters, big chance missed there.
Yeah, could three of them again in the net.
The nerves could be getting to them. There's a lot of panic double commits coming out from the Scooters, but they do have control here as Buddha puts this back to the corner, doesn't have the control, but he took the boost, going for the demo, misses both players, and he keeps the pressure up. Man Matt bumped out of the midfield by Mash. There's a great block there, but it's still pressure from the Scooters. Mash just goes up to the backboard to clear this from Arnie's bearing down. We're still not out of the Slifer's half.
And they didn't really have that sort of backboard presence in the previous game, so it was good to see that clear come out, because that was a dangerous play from Slippery Scooters. But I'm not sure if Slifer are looking to just hold on to their lead and try and avoid people overcommitting, just making sure their defense is intact and just being 2 goals up as well. It might be enough of a cushion that they feel confident defending against. But this is Slippery Scooters, and they've got some of the most powerful offense in the minor league, so they definitely shouldn't rest on their laurels at the moment.
Do you agree? I feel like that would be the best plan of action, to just hold what you've got. They know from the previous games in the series that they can easily get scored upon. As Mamat goes up for this, doesn't get the greatest shot on target, but he almost snuck in under the crossbar. Stinos couldn't deal with it.
And again, you saw all 3 Slifer players just watching and waiting what could possibly happen, but it ends up working for them somehow.
This goal was almost a mimicry of the Slifer's second goal when Mash hit it straight from the midfield line into the goal. And he did put this in as an own goal, but he had to go up and try and save it.
They're finding their marks off the wall shots, aren't they? They're sort of hitting it on target, and Slippery Scooters, they're not expecting those to go on. And when they do, it's almost been a goal for them this game.
I think it is an effect, a symptom almost, of the fact that Scooters know they have to push up the field, they have to be aggressive. They were in a 2-goal deficit with only, a minute left, 50 seconds left, and they had to push up the field, and that leaves big gaps in the rotation. If that third man isn't paying attention to how the ball is being played in the midfield, he leaves such open gaps for the offense to play through. and it's what's worked for Slifer here as they keep their season alive and put this to game 5. Another chance for
Oh wow.
Stinos. Gets his hat trick. Very good midfield play from Bokaj. Puts pressure on man Matt, forced him to put it to the corner. He was the last man once again, couldn't deal with it.
Yeah. And
And
that bounce off that corner attempted clear as well is just very unfavourable for Slippery Scooters. It just ends up popping nicely in the middle for Stinos to be able to take a shot.
this is going to be an unbelievable shot of adrenaline for Slifer. The confidence that they needed going into game 5. The season was on the line, and it still is. Scooters could come back, but they showed the strength that the Scooters had in the first game, going, I believe it was a 3-0 win.
Yeah. I
Very
think it
close
was it was very
midfield duels.
dominant from Slippery Scooters in that first game, and then it was a close second game that Slifer managed to take, I think. And the previous game as well being another close 4-3 affair. And this time it's Slifer who came out with the dominant wins. I think both teams on similar levels overall at the moment in the series. Slifer obviously with the significant momentum advantage going into game 5. Um, who do you think is going to clutch it, Vector?
Well, going off of head-to-head, Scooters were 5-3 ahead of Slifers, of Slifer, but this game 4 performance is really put me onto their side. Stinos has stepped up. He didn't play as well as he could have in the game previous, but he's shown that he has the potential. I mean, they were mainly shots from midfield, and he did get that fortunate kind of pinball goal going off of two of the defenders. But they'll take what they can get, and it's it doesn't matter how it goes in, just matter that it is a goal. That's all they needed, and the fact that they managed to keep them to 0 goals in that last game will be very, very important as we go into this game 5.
Yeah, good shutout there for Slifer, and as you said, it's crucial for them going into this. They were looking so shaky at the start of the series, so nervous, and I think, oh wow, Sabuda, what an angle off the back wall.
We can't take this away from Scooters. They did do what they needed to do to get this goal, but again, Stinos with the miss. He expected it to come off the back wall a little quicker than it was.
Yeah, Sabuda didn't even let me finish caster cursing Slifer at that stage. They're just getting ahead of me at this point.
Trying to avoid the curse by playing it before it happens, but you can't escape. This is just the natural order of things. As Bokash goes up for this, he's going for the double tap.
Oh,
Almost tried to get the flip reset, but I don't think he got it. Didn't get all 4 wheels on the ball at the same time, but Stino still has the pressure. He puts it to midfield. It looked like kind of a half shot, half pass as Mash went up for that, but they didn't manage to get the equalizer as they're now under pressure from Sabuda. Puts it off the back wall. Stino's just managed to deal that. Mad Matt puts it off the wall for Arnie, but he doesn't want to rush this. Wants to keep that lead intact.
yeah, and I
Sabuda
think
the
both
first
both
time.
defense has been sort of in recently just happy to try and wait and just make that save and then counter attack. I think that they're being a little bit passive, especially when there's more than one player in defense. They can afford to use that first player to bait out the shot, and then the second player has an easy save after that. But I think a lot of the times I've seen both defenders happy to just sort of take it back a little bit further or just sit on the goal line, wait for the shot to come in, and then just go from there.
Dangerous path in field from Bokaj was put back for his third man. But he didn't get the chance on target as Mash tries to keep pressure here.
Oh,
Doesn't have the possession. It's a 3v1 chance for Scooters. Stinos has to rush back for this as Buda puts it off the corner. Bokaj couldn't deal with it, but not much of a threat on target. Slifer can easily deal with that. And Arnie with another wayward touch behind him and up to the ceiling. That could come into play very quickly. Could be very, very damaging for the Scooters. As Slifer start to figure out that they're having no trouble with that, but a chance for Bokaj. It missed Arnie. Matt had to be back for this. Stinos
ball
off the
shot.
side ball again, going up for the double tap. Doesn't quite get to it, but Mash is there to
Oh.
follow. Sabuda gets a touch on this, but not enough to put it wide. Scooters could not deal with it.
They had to be wary, I think, of Stenos being able to possibly get another touch off the back wall, and then the defender on the backboard unable to make contact to get the clear, so the defense below him they'll be a little bit slow to react to that, and Mash just spotting all that and just getting in there before the ball is able to land off that rebound. Good goal there from
With
Slifer.
the defensive misplays, had to wait for Stinos' second touch. Didn't read it quite enough, but they do have the chance here. Double commits with Sabuda. I don't know if that was communicated, but it's going down off
Oh.
the God, that was very close to sliding in for the Scooters,
This
but
is Game 5 Vector. Both these teams are going to be so tense going into this. It's everything's on the line in this game.
no one wants to make that crucial mistake. But Mad Matt may have just made it as Stinos had a chance to put that on target. It was just blocked out by the defender. But all the pressure for Slifer right now is they always have a man waiting on that side wall to cover this and try and get it back to mid for the pass. But Sabuda beats out one and they have to wait for this as Ani pushes at the field. Mash pushes at the third man, but he had the time. Sabuda just comes back into this. Mamat as third man once again, but not as much pressure as we've seen throughout this series, as no team wants to throw everything at this. Well, captured a good 50, but it wasn't enough for one of his teammates to get there sooner. Mash with a touch that was similar to Ani's just a couple minutes ago, but it wasn't punished with Scooters. They do have the pressure. Not enough control from Mash gives a chance for Sabuda, but Stinos is there to cover it. Quite not quite strong enough of a clear to relieve that pressure.
I think Mash could have possibly
But he's
used
on
that
the
space
field.
a little bit better as well. I think he had one player, I think possibly Stianos, to his side, and he ended up just passing the ball back to Slippery Scooters. So yeah, it's just a sign of nerves. I think. Hopefully they'll try and regroup and look to find each other and get counterattacks going a bit more consistently.
This could be a killer here. This is Elimination Rocket League. Whoever loses this match loses their season. And with 1 minute left to go, neither of these teams want to be the one to make that mistake, as Mash manages to keep this away from Arnie going up the field, but is blocked out in midfield by Sabuda, who keeps the pressure. Bokash was a little awkward as Mamat gets to push this, but again, straight 50 into Bokash, who manages to get it up the field. There's an open
Indeed.
chance for Mash. Sabuda's
Oh.
up there, but he can't quite get to it as Mamat has to deal with this off the corner, getting pressured by Stinos. Slifer have the chance to put this one away as if they keep the pressure in this last 30 seconds. But a double commit here for Slifer. They
Oh.
didn't quite have the communication to pass to each other there. I don't think Stinos was going for the shot, but Mash didn't get the touch. Stinos had another chance here. Dribble of a shot straight to the first man defense. But all three Slippery Scooters player in the same corner as they're being
What?
stabbed out.
Where's
Bokaj
the
up to the
defense?
midfield. Like I said, they were all in the corner. They all had to break out and get boosts. No one had any. Arnie went across the midfield. Mad Matt went all the way back, expecting one of his teammates to read this, but Bokaj is up first, puts it away, gets the lead with 15 seconds left for his team. This is do or die for Scooters.
This is it. The top seed could potentially be eliminated based on how these next 10 seconds go.
I
That
see a pattern developing,
boost.
Arama. Smash goes up for this, but
Yeah.
when does they get the clear? They have to get it out of their own half right now. Spooner puts it up the field, but to the wrong player. Bokac is up for this, puts it
And
down.
it's all
It
over.
is all over. Slippery Scooters' first seed season is over. Brilliant play from Slifer. They managed to take that pressure. I believe the same scoreline from game two. And
Yeah,
like we said, the last game in game four, they needed that confidence. They needed that 4 goal win. Or was it 5 goal? I can't remember. That's how prolific their offense was. But look at the amount of saves from the Scooters. The amount of shots they've had to deal with in this series has just been suffocating. And it is exactly what we wanted to see from Slifer from that fourth seed to prove that it doesn't matter how you get into playoffs, as long as you can beat the team in front of you when it matters.
exactly. And Slifer just having that clutch factor there at the end. I mean, is it fair to say that it all came down to that one misplay at the end? Yes, there were mistakes before. The series was all level. The game was level at 1-1. And then Slippery Scooters ended up getting staffed and possibly just positioning a little bit too close to each other, trying to get that clear out from the Slifer offense. And two players rotating out for boost, one other player as well, I think, after challenging, landing in a bad position. And the net was just empty.
It's we talked about it in the middle of the series. We talked about it between series. It was defense that was going to win you this matchup, as all 5 games were quite close. I mean, some were a little less close than others, but you could tell that both teams had the opportunities to push forward and get those goal scoring opportunities. But it just wasn't enough from the Slippery Scooters to do it. It did go to Game 5. It was a great 3-2 series, and I'm glad that I could witness it. And
Hmm.
commiserations to the Slippery Scooters. You did brilliant in league play, but elimination is where it matters, and it just wasn't enough from them.
Yeah, great performance there from both teams, but Slifer taking the edge in that one. And they head to the finals to face the winner of our next game that we've got coming up. It's the Sublimes versus Arena Tribe, so we hope to see you back for that. Should we take a short break, Rector, and then as we set up the lobby and get these guys in, and then we'll hope to regroup shortly for you guys on stream.
Absolutely. Back soon. And welcome back again to RSC Season 5 playoff weekend. Right now, we have the minor tier playing off as we just had the first semi final between the Slippery Skuas and Slifer. Slifer taking that one, the 4th seed beating out the 1st seed. I see a pattern developing, Anima.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, it's not the consistency as much that matters because league plays over. Slippery Scooters topped the group, but unfortunately they were bested by Slifer, who were a fair few games behind them in the leaderboards. So they were able to perform in the day, and that's what eventually matters. So it's a message to all the top teams: just don't underestimate playoffs just because you've had a good season leading up to them. You need to be able to take them at their own merit and make sure that you're prepared adequately for it. And now we've got the second semi-final vector.
Absolutely. I just wanted to quickly quote my great GM, Chonka. The league play is a marathon and the playoffs are a sprint. You have to be ready on the day. You have to play the best Rocket League that you've ever played, and if you don't, then you lose out. And it was quite a close series with it being going to game 5, but now we have the next semi-final between the 3rd and 4th seed, the Sublimes and Erina Tribe. Now this is going to be a very interesting one because both of these teams I feel like are quite close in their head-to-head. They're 4-4. They've
Yeah,
each had 2 draws against one another in league play.
yeah, exactly. You've got sort of Sublimes who are a little bit ahead in the leaderboard, sitting just on the Slippery Scooters. But as you said, when you look at the matchups against Erina Tribe, both series have gone 2-2. So it's going to be a close one. It was exciting to see that game 5 in the first series. We may very well see another game 5 in this one, if the teams keep up to their previous results against each other. And
Certainly
we've
hope to see it. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
carry on.
No. I was just saying we've got the team stats on the screen for you guys to have a look at as well. Anything
Yeah,
interesting in there for you, Hector?
well, as you can see, the shooting percentage is fairly similar, but the goals for is far in favor of Sublimes with over, I believe that's 31 goals over the Erina Tribe, and that could just be a result of very heavy scorelines, like if they're going against teams that kind of just fall apart towards the end of a series and they just get a bunch of goals in 1 or 2 games. But from the looks of things, it could be high offense from Sublimes and Erina Tribe mostly on the defense as uh, well, saying that they have far fewer saves as well as Sublime, so it might just be that Sublimes have a much quicker pace, and the opponents that they've played against have had to play to that level, or that their midfield play isn't as strong and they get shot at a lot more than their opponents generally. So it should be interesting to see. I'm expecting a game 5. I'm hoping for a game 5. I mean, the schedule doesn't want a game 5, but I think everybody watching does, and I think we are ready to start as we do have all of the players in the lobby. What is your prediction for this matchup, Anima?
Um, yeah, so we talked about the head-to-head being very close for both teams against when they match up against each other. But obviously, Sublimes have been able to display a lot more consistency against the other teams compared to Erna Tribe. So I'd sort of give them the slight edge, but maybe it's 3-2 in their favor. But it's too close a series to call, to be honest.
Yeah, going here, the Sublimes with the lineup of Growl, Hunter Sam, and J Hill against the Erina Tribe with Frizzle, Kincaid, and Tani. This should be a good one.
Yeah, and I was actually sort of expecting Gucci flop flips to be playing because he's got some good stats on the board for the Sublimes. He's the one with the most MVPs in minor. He's also got the third most goals, the second highest overall points, and the second highest saves in there as well. So it's a bit strange to see him sitting out. Maybe they're sort of prioritizing the team chemistry aspect of things, and possibly Gucci doesn't quite fit as well into that.
B, it could also be a wild card in the back pocket, but because it is a best of 5 elimination series, if they feel like they're sitting
Oh,
behind, they could bring him in to get an advantage going forward, but they don't need it right now as Hunter Sam puts this into his own net as Growl couldn't quite deal it off the backboard. Hunter Sam expecting someone to be pushing for that shot,
yeah.
but makes the mistake, puts it up into his own top left corner. Unfortunate start for the Sublimes.
Just very awkward positioning for him as he saw sort of two players just rush past the ball without making any contact, and he suddenly found himself as the last player between the ball and the net, and just panicked while trying to make that clear, and then fortunately it ends up putting it in his own net. So a bit of a another sort of pattern here, Hector. Bit of a nervous tap possibly in this second semi-final as well, as we'd expect.
I'd certainly be nervous as the second seed that the Sublimes are, seeing that the first seed above them got taken out by Slifer down there in fourth. But Hunter with a good aerial play here, tries to get a bump on Frizzle, doesn't manage, he gets one on Tani though, which leaves the net open for Growl to put it in. That is the play that we expect to see from Sublimes, one pushing up the field, disrupting that third man defense, and just a simple tapping for Growl.
Yeah, Hunter Sam just looking for men on that back line and disrupts one, bumps the other, and ends up being a relatively straightforward shot from Growl. But he did well to make sure to put that one on target, and the game is level once again.
Similarities to the series that we have just seen. Back and forth stuff, both teams scoring within 2.5 minutes of the game. Growl out with a chance to Hunter Sam. He doesn't get the power on it that he expected. I don't think he meant to have that as a shot. He was laying it off to Growl, but it gave Frizzle the chance to get back and save that off the goal line. Tiny with a strange double touch to the center, but Growl managed to cover this. Gets a flick out to the mid, but Frizzle's covering it. No chance coming out from the Sublimes as they're waiting back. An awkward touch from J-Hill. Tani goes up for this for the shot. Frizzle almost saved that, coming off of the ceiling of the goal. But a great way to go forward for Erna.
Not the touch the defender would have been looking for. There was a great long clear from Frizzle, just asking that question off the Sublime's defense, who's looked a bit shaky in their previous attempt. So he asked the question again, and he gets the answer he's looking for. Weak clear comes out, and Tany's able to follow that up and put that one through.
It was my mistake. It was nowhere near Frizzle there. It was the angle I was looking at that looked strange, but he has to deal with this as one of his teammates got demoed though as the third man. Growls gets it past one. 50s with Tani. J-Hill commits to that, which leaves Hunter Sam on the back lines. They're passing up for Kincaid in the middle. Tani gets it, puts it back to Kincaid. I'm not sure how intentional that was, but it does keep the pressure for Erna as Frizzle puts it to the middle. No one there waiting for it though. Sublimes get a free shot out to the other half, but it was dealt with. Still on the back line, Growl missed it off the backboard. Kincaid is waiting. No one on the Sublime's defense expected this to happen, but sometimes that's all that matters. Kincaid just trusted that he'd miss and gets it under J-Hill. That was a very smart shot from him. He knew that the defense must have been barreling down to try and stop that. Just slightly puts it under the defender.
Yeah, once he got past that first man as well, you could see Hunter Sam just having a poor landing. What is this? How is this an open net? Where is the Sublime defense? Hunter Sam goes off to grab mid boost off the follow-up, and the last man, I'm not sure what happened with him as he was off screen. But Sublime's massive gap in their defense.
It was a bad kickoff for the Sublimes, and J-Hill was left on the back left corner to deal with it, and I think he's got shaky hands as he flipped off the side of the wall. But he couldn't get the touch with left open shots for Tani. The defense couldn't rotate back quickly enough, but Kincaid puts it to the backboard. Frizzle tries to get a touch on that, but just misses out, which gives the Sublimes a chance to push up the field. Both players miss, but it's still in that corner. Tani doesn't have the best control. Growl puts it middle, but straight to the defender, who once again throws away possession.
And as you sort of mentioned, games at the moment are being won by defense, and Erna Tribe are looking a lot more solid in their defensive rotations compared to the Sublime. That might be a flip reset for Kincaid. Doesn't matter.
It's being won by defense, but if you take a quick glance at the scoreline, that is 5-1. The defense on the Sublimes is basically non-existent. They can't clear it out of their corners. They can't control the midfield, and I mean, it's a lack of boost, obviously, but the comms really need to improve if they're going to take control of this series going forward. I mean, there's always the first game nerves, as we say, but those nerves can extend all the way into the series as Kincaid goes up to this. A double commit from Erna. Tani didn't call off Kincaid as he had his chance to go for that shot. He wanted the double tap. But again, more pressure from Erna. They're staying up the field. They're getting those midfield 50s in their favor.
Yeah, I think Sublimes just need to be a little bit careful here. I mean, they've already sort of conceded so many goals now that it's just about recuperating what they can from this game, just minimizing their losses, try and sort of adjust some of the issues heading into the next game as we've just got, and they get a slow one, but so well placed that it goes over the defender here. Tani just an awkward touch, just hits it high, and Hill reads it really well and beats up the defender to it.
Unshakable trust from Aaron Tribe. Tani puts it up to the mid, definitely expecting his teammate Frizzle to get up to that, but he didn't. And Sublime's claw one back. It might not make much difference to this
Oh.
game's scoreline. This game's result, sorry, as Aaron Tribe is still in their half, keeping up the pressure, but Growl he gets it kicked up the field, tries to put it back to the mid for Hunter Sam, but it wasn't enough as Kincaid dealt with it, but it's straight out to Hill. Awkward touch from Tani, gives a chance for Growl, puts it into the mid. Not high enough, Frizzle can deal with it. Tani comes off the wall, puts it off the side. Hunter doesn't want to commit for this, which is a strange choice considering they're 3 goals down with 25 seconds left. You'd think they just want to throw everything at this.
Yeah, I think they're all sort of not feeling confident in themselves. They don't want to be the one taking that hit, and they're ending up leaving for their teammate, which obviously isn't the right way to go. It just sort of breaks rotations a little bit too much. Sublimes, they managed to get a goal back, but they're still looking a little bit too shaky for me going into this next game.
It will be going to Aaron and Tribe as Frizzle doesn't manage to keep that up. They take game 1 in this series in a fairly convincing fashion. I mean, of course, there's always room for improvement. Their defense could have been slightly better as they did concede 2 goals, but their offense is all that matters right now. And I don't know if they'll be able to keep this up going forward. The Sublimes could figure out their mistakes on the back line fairly easily and start to control that midfield a bit more. And this scoreline could kind of, breach the gap a little bit. Lower that drawbridge and try and get us some closer games.
Yeah, and I think the fact that Arena Tribe managed to put 5 goals in off 6 shots, I'm not sure if that speaks more for the lack of defense on the Sublime side of things, or whether their Arena Tribe shooting is just that good. I think it's more of the former, to be honest. So Sublimes really need to change things up, and they do have a substitute waiting for them in the wings. Gucci flop flips could potentially come in this next game.
Column A, a little bit of column B. We'll have to see how the Sublimes bounce back from this. They had some good play. They had decent passing plays going up the field, but again, as we saw in the last match between the Scooters and Slifer, it was just that backline rotation, just not having that third man always there, ready to deal with whatever the offense couldn't handle, and the midfield just not being as strong as it could be for that team. But I'm not sure why the players aren't joining. I'm not sure if
Yeah,
they're waiting for us to say they can go. Looks
yeah.
like it. They're beholden to us, as it seems. We have all the control. As Aaron and Tribe have all the control in this series right now, they're going to have to keep up that offensive play, but make sure that they don't get countered rapidly as the Sublimes have been able to do a couple times.
Yeah, and as we said, we see that substitute coming in from the Sublimes, but in the early stages, it doesn't matter, as they're in a tribe, just sort of pick up where they left off in the last game, add another one to the scoreboard. Great pass from Kincaid there to Tani on the end of that, puts that through.
More of the same from Aaron and Tribe. It was a risky aerial for Tani, but because he got it quicker, because he got the touch, he got first dibs to that, as they managed to take the lead with only 15 seconds on the clock. Sublimes do have a bit of pressure here as Tani misses off the back wall. Gucci, the super sub, coming in to teach his team how to play this game as he kicks it off the back wall. A little bit of fortune as Tani couldn't deal with it, but there was no fortune in that shot. Knew exactly what he needed to do to get that equalizer early on. Very important goal for the Sublimes.
Yeah, very important for them, as you said, to level things up here. And it just sort of reinforces that view that maybe they can turn things around with the change that they've made in their lineup. Sometimes it can take a little while to adjust the rotations as well to their new roster. But I mean, Gucci's played for them so many times, I'm sure it's probably just a matter of a quick adjustment. Tanya kind of shaky clear on as the last man. This Hunter Sam misses his contact though. And Erna Tribe get away with that one though, but they're looking a little bit insecure as well in terms of their defense.
You can already see the effect Gucci's having, regardless of the goal. When he was put in that third man situation, he was patient, he waited, got a pass out to Hunter Sam. He's waiting for a chance here from Growl, but he can't put that one on target. He's communicating well with his team. I saw him leave the ball for Growl as well. He's on the front post, he's covering this. But Frizzle gets a chance. If Growl couldn't deal with it, Gucci has to. Kincaid gets the second chance. Hunter just manages to save this. Is the flip sideways to keep that out of his goal. Tani has control, puts it to mid, Frizzle
Oh.
there, puts it across Growl. Brilliant passing play from Aaron here. We were just singing Gucci's praises, but as happened in the first goal that Aaron had got, it was a pass out from Gucci, not having the control that was necessary to play it out of his own half, and they get punished for it as his teammates cannot deal with the follow-up.
Yeah, good placement of the shot as well from Frizzle behind the defender who was expecting a near post shot, and Frizz just turns it around and goes far post instead. Erna Tribe looking good here. I think Sublimes are looking a little bit better as well compared to their previous game. Obviously, in terms of scoreline, but also in terms of the fact that they're looking for sort of passing plays. And it'll be good to see them get some results off that and boost their morale going into the rest of the series.
It's looking like this game has been a lot more about midfield control, as neither team has much control out of their own backline. Frizzle gets a demo on the first man, but Gucci's there to follow it as Kincaid has to deal with this, puts it to the corner. But no pressure from the Sublimes as Hunter gets a team bump on Growl to push him up the field. It didn't come back to bite them quite yet, but it could. Hunter has to deal with this, doesn't have the best touch, puts it down to Frizzle, but again, losing possession. Gucci tries to get a double tap, but it's out to Tani. Hunter has to deal with this. Not under as much pressure from Frizzle as you might expect, but he does get the 50. Gucci's there to deal with it. Kincaid comes with the follow. Tani goes up as the third man. Growl's awkward.
Oh.
Cannot get this punch, but it wasn't on target as Gucci has to scream into his own post to 50 that out. But still, a chance for Aaron as Kincaid puts the middle and Frizzle is there. Gucci didn't have the time to rotate as Growl was just a little too slow going back. He had to wait for this, expecting Kincaid to get his own shot off of this, but just leaves it for Frizzle, who puts it in the back of the net. 3-1 up for the Aaron Tribe in game 2.
Short-lived relief from the Sublimes after Gucci flop flips, makes that attempted clear off a pinch off his post. But then Kincaid gets that pass across to Frizz, just puts it back in and just expands.
See the same thing, but the other way. Frizzle went for the shot instead of the pass, but he forced 3 defenders to clear it.
Frizz doesn't have much boost rotating back, but thankfully Tani managed to beat that offender there.
Gucci was good midfield control. Tani tries to deal with this, has to put it to his post, but it's straight back to Gucci, waiting like a shark. Just knows that Tani has to deal with this awkwardly as it was on target. His team can't rotate. And he's putting his team on his shoulders right now, despite the defensive mistakes that we've seen from him.
Yeah, and it sort of begs that question again. Why was he sitting out in that first game? They know he's one of their star players, but it might just be the fact that it's a change-up, and sometimes a change-up is all a team needs to reset their morale going into this. But Arena Tribe is not making it easy for them. They have an answer to every single offensive play that the Sublimes have managed to make, and they've just looked so dominant in that half, finding each other at the end of passes and making those finishing touches when they matter.
I think the main thing that we've seen is that the Sublime's boost management isn't good enough, and that's why they're losing out on these aerial plays. But Gucci gets a bump on his teammate Growl, which gives the pressure to Aaron to try. Frizzle tries to get this, but Hunter deals with it. Gucci can't. Tani goes up, doesn't go up.
Oh, double.
But 2 of his teammates go up, but neither can get it on target. Still the pressure for Erina though, as both his teammates had to rotate back as they did double commit for that aerial. They threw everything into it, but Hunter the chance, he just puts it wide, didn't have the control to get a second touch on that to put it into the net. That will be a rude missed chance for the Sublimes, but they do still have the pressure here. Gucci couldn't get back to it as no one from his team pushed up. Growl tries to deal with this. Hunter has the time, but he flicks it back to the mid for Growl. I don't know if this is an intentional passing play, but Hunter doesn't get the flick over 3 players that were back for the Erina Tribe. That they know all they have to do is defend this lead. They don't have to force anything. They don't have to rush. But Kincaid does as he pushes it up the field. Doesn't have the control, but Hunter doesn't deal with it. Growl puts it to the corner. He could still be under pressure from Tani, but he waits patiently. It was a good play from him, but he gets beaten out. It's rolling across the goal line. Hunter's now dealt with it, but 2 are up at Erina again as Kincaid beats out Frizzle. They're just trying to beat each other out for goals at this point.
They've got the lead. They've got less than 30 seconds left, but Frizz and Kincaid just sort of feeling confident going up for that one. Tani's found himself as the last man a few times in the double commits from Kincaid and Frizz, but Sublimes aren't quite managing to punish those opportunities when they get it. And also in a Tribe, their shooting's been so on the mark that they're making those go in, even off any double commits that may end up happening.
It looks almost like an exact copy of what we saw from the last series between Scooters and Slifer. It was a 5-2 scoreline where one team had all the pressure, all the possession, and all the prolific shooting. As Aaron and Tribe are doing that here as they take game 2 in this best of 5 series. They are on match point now, and I'm not sure what the Sublimes have left. They've used their trump card with bringing in the substitute, and it wasn't enough.
It just wasn't, but they were looking good in the initial stages of that. Hopefully they reset a little bit at the end of this. I'm not sure if, would you suggest that they change their lineup a little bit? Gucci Flop Flips has been the best player. Maybe they managed to get either Hunter Sam or Growl out. I think Hunter Sam wasn't quite making as much contact with the ball as he would have wanted to. He was looking a little bit awkward, so maybe he might get subbed out for J Hill. But Erna Tribe, what a performance from them.
It's a very difficult situation for the Sublimes. I would not wish to be the captain or the coach, as I don't feel like Growl or J Hill have been playing as well as they need to deal with this Arena Tribe offense. They both had some defensive mishaps, and I don't know if it's nerves or if it's just because it's not their day. I mean, you have those days where you just don't play as well as you hoped you would. It's just not the day for you. But Aaron's Tribe are taking this by the scruff of the neck, and they are making sure that they have that cushion now, where they'd have to lose 2 games to go to match point and make that elimination matter. And they'll be looking to put this one away with a 3 over sweep over their rivals, just above them in that second seed.
I'll just message you guys to join
Yeah,
again.
just
So wait again.
crack that whip
for
again
this.
and let them know they can go in as Mickey Boy joins the Arena Tribe.
Mickey, no.
Just wanting to give them an extra advantage more than they already need.
I'm surprised she's done it before I could. I knew it was going to happen. The James Bot play, as it's well known. Joining the team instead of spectating. Yeah.
As Arena still have the pressure here, trying to get to dump a demo onto Hunter Sam, but it wasn't enough for their offense to find a gap. Jail has a chance here, puts it to left. He has been subbed in for Growl. Don't know if they're just rotating this team to try and see what works, or if they feel like it's already over and they just want all their players to play in this semi-final.
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully they haven't given up. They still have a chance. As we know, it's a best of series. They are needing a reverse sweep to get anything out of this one, though. But still, there is that chance, and why not sort of push for it? Because you're never out until that last ball hits the ground in 0 seconds.
Always a chance, one game at a time. As Hunter Sam puts this in the middle, doesn't bounce.
Oh,
Fortunately for J Hill, but he gets onto
Oh.
this. He goes off of the post, straight down into the middle of the goal line.
He's just put himself in the way off that clear attempt, didn't he?
Tanny trusted Kincaid, who was in an awkward position going backwards. Had to deal with it as J Hill had the shot opportunity, but just 50s with him and puts that into the net. 1 minute gone.
And yeah, it's a good start. Good start again from Flimes this time around. Making another substitution, as you said. Growl out for J Hill, who's back in after that first game. Ooh, J Hill had another shot there, but good save from Tanny.
But you have to deal with that. He didn't. Frizzle the free shot off the crossbar, off the post. It misses. Kincaid comes for the follow, but it's not on target. That is a big miss from Frizzle, and that could be the difference in this game. You never know.
Yeah, I think Erna Tribe's offense has been solid enough that they've had so many opportunities that hopefully missing one doesn't sort of affect the result too much. But it's more sort of the morale and the confidence Frizz will have in front of another open net. The next time he goes up for it after that last one being missed.
Gucci Flop Flip's getting a bit frustrated there as he missed a touch off the wall, but it hasn't come back to bite him just yet as he keeps it to the field. Hunter doesn't have the boost to follow that as Tanny's up first. Didn't get the control though. Still in Supply's corner. Tanny gets it past one. Gucci's waiting on the wall. Can only flick it up to the top. Double commit from Erna. Neither of them gets the favorable clutch. Hunter pushes the field, just gets the mid boost. Frizzle has the corner. He can deal with this, but puts it across his own net. Completely trusting his teammate on the back post. Demo in the midfield on J Hill. It's a 2-man offense from Sublimes. They know they've got 1 man back. As Kincaid gets a touch off the wall, goes off the wall again. to try and get a quick shot off, but it wasn't enough. Gucci has to take this off the back wall, flicks it into his own midfield, his own box rather. As Hunter has to deal with this, his low boost gets the 50 out though. Managed to get to the corner boost as Kincaid pushes up the field. It's a 3-man offense from there and Tribe. Nothing comes of it. Back and forth midfield stuff from both teams.
You're often seeing sort of Tanny sort of being left as the last man, and Frizz and Kincaid happy to throw themselves at any sort of offensive opportunity. I think whether that's just because they're aggressive-minded, what a save there from
I
Tanny,
think
or
that's why.
because of that Tanny's impressive defense. They're confident knowing that with a guy like Tanny on their backline, they are able to have that extra bit of space to go for the plays that would sometimes be overcommits for other teams, and Frizz as well gets a good block off that. I think that was possibly creeping in under the crossbar as well. Tricky save, but Frizz makes it happen.
Gucci with a clever touch over Kincaid keeps the pressure of all three Sublimes players in the offensive half. Tang gets it off the back ball. Hunter tries to keep possession here, puts it to the side. Doesn't keep it as Kincaid puts it in the middle. It's J Hill first. He gets there before Frizzle. That's somewhat unfortunate for Kincaid off the sidewall. He knew how to deal with this as Hunter Sam was barreling down, but straight to the opposing team as they take that 2-0 lead in game 3. Another important goal for Sublimes, getting that cushion.
Yeah, I'm sure Kincaid would have wanted a little bit of height, or possibly wanted to keep that ball closer to the ball than he ended up doing. But a good read there from J Hill to react well to that and beat out the goalkeeper.
They tried to put that to the middle for his team and probably wanted to put a shot on target as Hunter Sam gets a demo on Frizzle somehow. Gucci has a chance here, flicks it over one, puts it across, but Frizzle is back in time over 2 offensive players rushing down to get that 3rd goal. With 50 seconds left, J Hill's left back here did manage to get the corner boost, not enough pressure from the area tried to put that forward. It's all the way back across the field once again as Hunter Sam has a chance. Tanny managed to block it out, but Kincaid pushes up the field, didn't keep control. Gucci puts it to the side wisely. Gets a strong 50, keeping his team in this game. With 30 seconds left to go, it's looking difficult for Erina to take this back as Gucci puts it up. Just hits the left-hand post, wasn't enough. Tries to back pass it to his teammate who's there. Doesn't manage to get the touch as Frizzle has the chance to put this to the midfield. Tanny for a shot, doesn't get it on target. Didn't read that, but Kincaid goes for the follow. Tanny again, but not the right angle for Erina as that could be the death knell for them. That could signal the end of this game as they had to score that to even have a chance of getting an equalizer just after, and it won't be as Sublimes take game 3, keeping their season alive in this best of 5 series. That was a fun one to watch.
Yeah, and it's good to see that these guys have not given up on this. They managed to take this first game, and that'll hopefully just reinforce their sort of belief in themselves that they can make this reverse sweep happen. Erna Tribe, not quite looking like the same team that we saw, but I think Sublime's managed to close up the holes in their defense. Nicky Boy apologizing for joining the roster at the start of that game in chat.
Yeah, Sublimes have been shuffling their roster since game 1, and it hasn't worked out until now. And they could stick with this going forward, as they are still on match point, as Erina could still take this with only one game, 2-1 up in the series. But they've got a fighting spirit.
Yeah, and it's good to see that. They've not sort of given up. I think Erina Tribe were so dominant in the first couple of games that you wouldn't have blamed the Sublimes for just sort of turtling down a little bit and just wanting to not lose by a big enough margin in that 3rd game. But no, they believe in themselves to make this reverse sweep happen. And hopefully with this roster change that's worked for them, they'll probably stick with that same team and hope to get a similar result going into game 4. It's far from over.
Oh, it is far from over. And are on match point, but they'll be reeling back from that 2-0 loss. It could have easily been 3 or 4, but with some great defensive plays from Tanny and Frizzle. But I'm expecting to see a little bit more patience from Erina. I feel they knew that they took games 1 and 2 fairly convincingly, but they're not invincible. They can bleed as Hunter Sam goes up for this off a pass from Gucci, but doesn't get the read. Frizzle missed it as well, but it didn't matter as Tanny has the cover going for that 3rd man. Gucci puts it to the corner. Smart play from him. Good control, but he gets demoed for the trouble. As Hunter Sam has to deal with this as the last man. Tanny rushes him, but doesn't get that. Hunter Sam has a free chance here. Puts it to the right side. Frizzle's not back. Kincaid's not back. They take the lead in 26 seconds.
Yeah, Frizzle and Kincaid not quite used to sort of spending too much time in defense after those first couple of games. But yeah, they need to be aware that it's a 3-man rotation, that they should all be aware of where the other players are, and if there's a hole in defense, try and avoid going for boost. It's important to just have that car in the way sometimes if a shot comes on, rather than being fully boosted.
Tani with the right idea there, but he lost possession to Jahill in the midfield as Hunter puts this across up to the backboard, doesn't get the bounce that he wanted for the double tap, which gives Aaron a chance to push forward. Frizzle gets another chance, he puts it to Kincaid, who put it up to the ceiling. The defenders could not deal with this. Great way to respond.
Oh, what a
Gucci
pass.
couldn't rush. He just had no choice. He was
What
expecting a shot
pass.
or like
Yeah.
an infield pass from Kincaid, but it worked out and Frizzle read it perfectly.
Yeah, straight off the ceiling, and Frizzle with a good shot to beat at the defender. But that's the sort of offensive play that we've come to expect from Arena Tribe. We've often seen Kincaid and Frizz connecting in that offensive half. If
Yeah,
they
it's
manage to
what we
keep
want to
that
see.
going. Yeah.
The passing plays and the great positioning, trusting each other to be in the right place and have the boost necessary for those kinds of plays. And hopefully Tani can keep it up on the back line, but
Ooh.
Gucci couldn't quite clear that. Hunter Sam had to deal with it as Frizzle had a free shot into the corner. Gucci now up the field. Tani's got the control though. Takes
It's
it up to the
fine.
backboard. Doesn't have as much boost as he might have needed. Jail didn't get the angle. Just 50s it straight with Frizzle, but Kincaid misses it off the ceiling. Frizzle has to go up for this. Used a lot of boost to get that, but he is in the offensive half. As Hunter goes for a 1v1 versus
Oh.
Kincaid, gets the pinch off the ground, but Kincaid reads it first. Another opportunity for Gucci as two players on the backboard for Aaron have to deal with this. Hunter tries to get it back to the mid, but blocked out by Kincaid, who's up the field for the pass from Frizzle. Goes up for the aerial, puts it down to the midfield.
Is it
It's not a
there?
target, but Gucci doesn't read it. They can't get the shot off. Still a one-goal game with 3 minutes left. This is as close as you could possibly get, I feel, for these two teams.
Yeah, that last game, a strong wake-up call for Arena Tribe to not get complacent in this series. Sublimes, they've had that level during the season to be above them in the leaderboards, and they can certainly try and find that level again. So
I just
hopefully they
counted
don't relax a bit too much.
3 or 4 opportunities for Erina in the same 5 seconds
Yeah,
as they hit the crossbar, the backboard, and the post, I believe, twice. I don't know how Sublimes got out of that one unscathed.
they look like the game 1 and game 2 team, don't they? Where they're sort of finding each other and making the offensive plays happen a lot more. And I think that they possibly thought going into game 3 that the series was one and done. And after the Sublimes came out with that good performance and managed to actually shut them out, which was so impressive, given the scoreline in the previous couple of games.
Yeah, their confidence could have been rocked as their shooting isn't as good as we've already seen in this series. J-Hill with an awkward touch off the sidewall. Kincaid puts it down. Half shot, half pass to Frizzle, but Hunter deals with both of them as it's an open net for Slippery Scooters. Can they get back to this quickly enough? Frizzle manages it, but it's
Still down.
50 off the ceiling. An open net for Erina now. It's just back and forth. Cross field rotations and clears. Tani goes up for the shot, puts it to the side. Frizzle with a chance, puts it to the left of the defender. Gucci rushing in to try and get this. But both teams starved for boost, as Hunter really expected that to go in.
Yeah, I think Hunter, like you said, he was probably starved to boost as well. I didn't see him boosting at all, trying to go for that save, so he was probably completely empty in his tank. And Arena Tribe just managed to read that and make it happen. They put another one past Sublimes. They're now up in the lead. Tani and Kincaid up in the air. What are they going for here? The confidence certainly not lacking.
That was stupidly close. I mean, the double commit aerials are ridiculous, but when they almost result in a mid-air passing play into a double tap off the backboard, that's the thing, kind of thing you like to see from a team that has this much confidence going up the field. As Tani has another chance, he tries to flick it over Gucci, who waited patiently back to have this counter opportunity. Doesn't get the touch, just like Kincaid didn't. But Frizzle here has the passing option in the midfield, tries to go for it, but no one's there. Kincaid rotated back, expecting Tani to be there for it. Kicks it out to the midfield, a chance for Hunter, puts it wide left. Kincaid's there to deal with it, loses possession, almost. As there's no pressure from the Sublimes, they're put back on their own goal line again as Tani goes up for this, onto the backboard, but he doesn't get the touch. Last chance saloon for the Sublimes. They push up the field. 30 seconds left to get that equalizer. As Kincaid puts it to the left. Hunter with a chance, puts it back, but no one pressure from Gucci as he went back for boost. Frisco gets it over him. And then Demo's the third man. Kincaid's there. Just
Uh,
managed to get back in
I think
time. I think they're
Frizzle's
playing with their
offensive
food right now.
positioning has been so good. In that they've managed to any clears that come out, Frizz is there to mop it up before the Sublimes can get on the end of it and counter attack.
And as Kincaid goes for an air dribble play, killing all the time on that clock, they still have a chance. It's up here. J Hill going off the backboard, trying to get that double touch.
Oh
Hunter's up pretty early. Gucci goes for this, puts it
no!
off the backboard, but Kincaid's going to let it
Oh,
die as Aaron and Tribe take this series 3-1. What is happening today? In Challenger, we had third and fourth seed go through. In Minor, we have third and fourth seed going through. The underdogs
I
coming through
certainly
the
hope the
Cinderella
pattern
stories.
doesn't recur tomorrow when we are playing.
Oh no,
But
I can't
wow,
imagine the scenes of such an event occurring. Like, I mean, this game was a lot closer than the last two games, and like last three games even, with Sublimes going up 2-0 in that game three.
and I
But
think this series was in sort of Erna Tribe's hands a lot more than Sublimes. You sort of saw Sublimes attempting to shuffle their roster to try and find the right combination, and it looked like they possibly had in that third game after they took that win, but it might have just been because Erna Tribe dropped a little bit more in their intensity. So they managed to find their level again in the fourth game, and they come out with the win in the series. A good, strong performance from them, 3-1.
yeah, that game three performance wasn't quite what we expected from Erna, but it didn't matter. They took the series 3-1. Dropping a game may have been an important uh, thing for them to understand that they weren't invincible, as we were talking about, that they can be beaten and that they need to play a little more defensively. Despite that, the amount of crazy aerial plays that we saw from them, the confidence just exuding from them, hopefully they'll take that into the grand final as they play next, as they will be more warmed up than their opponent going into that, as they've had a quite a long break, and hopefully it'll be quite a close series. But for now, we're going to take a little break, probably about 5 minutes, to get both the teams into the lobby for that grand final. Do not go anywhere. This one's going to be a banger. Hello, and for the third time tonight, welcome back to RSC EU Season 7 playoff time. We are in the grand final. We've had two semi finals, we've seen some upsets, we've seen some great matches, some unbelievable aerial play from the teams that we've had on display. But right now, we're going into the very last match between Erina Tribe and Slifer, both third and fourth seed. It's something that we saw in the Challenger playoffs just a few hours ago. And I can't believe what's happening, Anima. Can you please explain to me what is going on?
I guess the possibly the teams at top getting a little bit complacent, but I mean, as the underdogs, the third and fourth seed they've played with nothing to lose, and it's proven enough for them to be able to take the wins off the league leaders. And good, much closer game in the first one compared to the second one. I think Arena Tribe looked a little bit too dominant in that game, but I think it might be a different story coming into this game though, in terms of the matchup between Arena Tribe and Slifer.
Absolutely. We've seen some heroes and we've seen some zeros. I mean, going into this, Erina Tribe do have a little bit more of an advantage. I would say they won their series 3-1 instead of 3-2, like the Slifer did, and they're going in warm, whereas Slifer have had to wait for this semi-final to play out. So hopefully they've been scrimming a bit or still playing together to keep that momentum, to keep that pace going. But it should be interesting to see just how this works out. I don't personally have the head-to-head for Erina Tribe versus Slifer, but because they're third and fourth seed, you can imagine that they're quite similar teams.
Yeah, I think definitely a tough one to predict. So I'm not sure if anybody had this on the ballot going into the grand finals, but the challenger team made it happen. Minor teams have made it happen, so maybe it can happen in tomorrow as well. But we'll try and avoid that personally. Bit biased there, but I think looking at the head to head though, I think Slife they've only played one series, and that was Erna Tribe losing 1-3 to Slifer, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. And the last game that they were supposed to play was a forfeit by Erna Tribe, so Slifer took that win without contesting there. Um, so just limited data, as you said. Erna Tribe are more warm, and they've had much stronger performance in their game. So for me, they'd be the favourites coming into this one as well.
I would have to agree. I mean, this is a best of seven series. It's all about consistency. It's a battle of attrition, and Erina Tribe have shown that they are the upper hand in that situation, as opposed to Slifer. And of course, we can't go off of seeding anymore. It doesn't make a difference in playoffs. It's just whoever you put up against, and I don't think the third and fourth seed thing will come into too much uh, discussion. I think it's just going to be back and forth, and I think this could go to Game 7.
It could indeed. Let's get some hype in the chat for the grand final, guys. As the minor team, it all comes down to this. All sort of 7 weeks of play here on the line, and we'll see which team can clutch it out when it matters most.
We do have the majority of the players in the lobby, but I believe we're still waiting on one of those to join up. And as they are, I feel like the strongest uh, difference maker that we're going to see in this series is well, obviously we talked about in the last two semifinals, the defense was what mattered, but we've seen such strong offense from the winning teams that I'm not sure defense even matters. I think what matters most is where control of the midfield comes into play, as well as the boost management and positioning of these forward players.
I think it's been sort of impressive how Erna Tribe have managed to make it make it work in terms of the offensive play, even sort of sustaining double commits again and again, but just ending up working out for them. Both Frizz and Kincaid are impressive strikers of the ball, and Tiny's got it locked down in defense. So if they manage to keep that rotation going, and each player sort of pulls in their respective responsibilities, I'm sure they'll be they'll have the edge going into this against Slifer. Who are we waiting on? Do you know, Actor, who you're waiting on? I think Frizz said there were just three, but
We have Steno,
yeah.
Smash, and Bocage, Frizzle, Kincaid, and Tani. I was getting confused. I do believe we have everyone in the lobby ready to go. So we can get started.
I'll tell these guys to join. And as we get the grand final underway, guys, I want to see your predictions in chat as well. Sato saying easy 4-0. Um, he's got that belief in his team that they can come out, and I have to say that as we've both agreed, they're in a tribe were looking seriously impressive in that last game.
We'll have to see different opponent, different possible playstyle. Steelers because hopefully it gets to the first goal.
I've cast against them in the first
6
6 seconds.
seconds in. The GM coming in clutch. I mean, he didn't have the second touch, but Tani didn't expect the power on that midfield play. Great way to start for Slifer, making Anima eat his words there. And like we said, we can't go off of seeding. We can only go off of current form. Slifer's games in their series in the semi-final were a little bit closer than Aaron's, as they said. Aaron taking the 3-1 win over their opponents, but it doesn't matter. It's just a complete reset. It's a new series. It's a best of 7. Anything can happen. Stinos is going off the ceiling, saves his flip, tries to get a crazy touch off of that, but doesn't manage it. Bokaj relieves some of that pressure, but it's just up to Kincaid, who almost has the second touch, almost got a bump.
And I think we have to remember as well that when Slifer played, they were playing the top seed, and there were some impressive players on that team as well. So their games might have been close. That's a loose ball, all the way from the Arena Tribe's half. Did Kincaid get it off his back wall? Yes, he did.
It wasn't
just
quite
on target.
a pinch, but it was enough. There was no one on the back line, and like a bull in a china shop, just going crazy across the field.
Great clear slash shot from Kincaid, I guess. I think at this level, though, you'd sort of expect players to be inconsistent with those backboard clears, and certainly adding power to that, like Kincaid did, was something of an exception to this tier. So maybe that's why Slifer's defense wasn't quite prepared for it. But we're all leveled again.
Maybe an extra factor that they have to consider going forward. Those hard clears going up, but Bokaj doesn't get this off the ceiling. Stevens has to deal with it as the second one was coming in. Match goes for a shot on target. Can KK deal with this? He just puts it onto the post left. Stinos gets bumped off of the shot trajectory by Tani. That was desperate defense.
That clear was so perfect as well off the post. If it came back, there was a Slifer man there waiting to put that in. But because it came off the inside of the post and went across the net, it was so much more difficult to read, and that's what ended up saving Arena Tribe there. A good save there from the defender initially.
Double whiff in the midfield, triple whiff as Frizzle was the first person to touch that ball. There's been a few interesting plays here. Well, yeah, that too. I mean, the attempts at double taps and sealing plays, like both these teams are trying to outplay each other so soon instead of figure each other out early on in the series to see where the weaknesses are and try and beat them on that. But there's a lot of aerial play, a lot of high air control and touches, but the pressure's been mostly on the side of Slifer, I feel, despite how strong Arena were on offense in their last series. They're getting pushed back into their own half. As I say that, Frizzle gets a ball up to the backboard. Stinos had to deal with that as Tani was barreling in. Kincaid goes for the third, doesn't get the best touch as Mash has a chance off the backboard, but doesn't have the boost to get back to it. Frizzle doesn't deal with it. Chance for ball catch up to the backboard again. Third man Stinos goes up for it, so does Kincaid. Just hits the crossbar. 3 opportunities, 3 misses. Slifer can't take the lead yet.
And it looked like one of those plays where they're just all setting up the other player, but none of the team managing to find that final shot on target. And they're in a tribe almost sort of get a great passing play on the other end.
Because of the nature of how the game's going so far and so many low and high aerial play, the boost management game for both teams is looking a little bit fraught, but Kincaid goes up for this, almost like he was faking the flip reset, gets a touch off the crossbar. Defender had to deal with it. Frizzle is in an awkward position, has to leave this for Stinos. Open net shot, but Kincaid is just there on the near post, left by his teammate at 50.
Tani got bumped into that.
Between Arena Tribe teammates, puts it across for Frizzle, who goes for the pre-flip, doesn't get the touch. Stinos has control here. Goes for the bump, but gets demoed for it somehow. He must not have been supersonic. I don't know how Tani was supersonic, but that's the will of the fates, it seems, in Rocket League. As Frizzle gets a chance up the backboard, wants to go for the double tap, but didn't know the angle. Bokaj beats out, he's got one chasing, but he flicks it over Kincaid, just manages to get back to it. Still a 1-goal game, not even a 1-goal game, still an equal game with only 50 seconds left to go, but Tani gets a nice double tap transition out of his own half. Doesn't have the boost to follow it though. Mash takes the corner boost, but it's just the pass out to Frizzle. Get the shot on target.
Oh,
Stino's got the touch on this, but not the angle. Couldn't put it away from the net. Just slide over his front bonnet. Unfortunate way to go down.
he's got the power, he's got the accuracy, puts it high enough for the defender to not be able to react to it in time. And Frizzle, you cannot underestimate this man's shooting after such a strong performance in the previous series as well. And he's got
And
another
he
one
does
as
it
well.
again, cutting open that defense. I mean, it was a decent kickoff, but there was a double commit from Erina, and this was a risky play. If Frizzle misses that, then it's basically an open net for Slifer, but he took the risk, and he got the reward, a 2-goal cushion with only 38 seconds left. This is looking difficult comeback for Slifer.
It's been so quick, back-to-back goals for in a tribe, managing to get that crucial 2-goal lead into
Chance.
the dying end. So, Bocage though, closes things down.
As close as you can get to a kickoff goal. They're only a few seconds after Frizzle rushed out Stinos, but he just left that rolling off of his back spoiler, which gives Bocage an open chance on the net. The defense hadn't rotated quickly enough yet. Still there for Slifer, 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Frizzle
I
puts
think
this aside.
Slifer have sort of spotted the gap. Oh, as I say
No.
that though. I was going to say that Slifer sort of saw that Erina Tribe were still sort of very aggressively positioned despite the 2 goals that they've already managed to score. And you'd expect them to sit back and just sort of close the game out, but they were still being aggressive. Slifer counted back, and then Tani managed to get one in off a great shot.
Arnie taking a leaf out of Frizzle's but rushing across the midfield to get a good shot off. I feel bad for Stinos. He's touched the ball twice. It could have been a save, but there's an open chance. Frizzle cannot get the angle to put this beyond.
What is happening in this
Mash gets
last minute?
the goal from his own box. It's 10 seconds left in a 1-goal game. This could go either way, I feel like. I mean, Slifer have already gotten a kickoff goal before. It could happen again as Frizzle and Bocage go for the kickoff. It doesn't win it out though as Frizzle puts it up to the corner. Mash pushes it to the middle. There's no one waiting for it as Tani gets control. Stinos gets it back. Pushes it over the wall. This is still up. Frizzle's going to probably try and kill it as he puts it across. Bocage has to put this to the wall. Keeps it up. Flicks it over one. Mash is there, but Kincaid's going to find it first. Kill it to
Here
the
it is.
ground. Not quick enough offense for the Splifer group.
Yeah.
But Erina Tribe, a good performance, I feel like. I mean, there were a couple open net chances.
Yeah, I mean,
they
like
conceded
it
two.
was a very very close series, a very low scoring game until that last minute where just everything just seemed to happen all at once. Erina Tribe, once you saw them score those 2 goals back to back, you thought it's comfortable, they've got this. And then sort of Bocage asked that question again, do you really have it? And Tani answered back, securing that win for them. Slifer managed to get another one on the board as well, just to keep things interesting in the last 10 seconds. But wow, what a game to kick things off.
Yeah, with it being 4-3, you would think the Erina Tribe had the most of the offense, but they actually had 5 saves as opposed to Slifer's 2. So the shot opportunity potential for Slifer and the accuracy was actually quite high, and Erina had to deal with that a lot more than they maybe were expecting from this Slifer offense. But with it being so close, like I said, I predicted that this could go to Game 7. I hope it does go to Game 7. And it's just a matter of time and a matter of opportunity to see whether or not Slifer can bounce back from that and try and get a bit more of a convincing control over this series.
Yep. So here we are, Game 2 Grand Finals. Erina Tribe deal the first blow. And Slifer will look to respond as he almost managed to get one in.
I think Mash saved that off the goal line. He was going for the cherry picker redirect, but he just took it off behind. Stinos goes off of the ceiling to try and get a crazy touch there. Put it on target, but all the pressure for Slifer right now. It's not left Erina Tribe's half since the kickoff. But as I said, it does. Frizzle goes for a shot. The wave for that, but it's straight back to Frizzle, puts it to the mid. Tani's got a chance there, splits the difference. Straight between both the Slifer defenders. I feel kind of bad for Bocage. Left back as the last man.
Yeah, he left it, didn't he? He thought Mash was back at that stage. He was expecting him to make that save, but yeah, that shot placement so awkward for the defense to deal with.
But it was wise from Frizzle. The comms are definitely there. You can see they're trusting each other to push up the field and be ready for that second man offense. Because they have the pressure here. Kincaid gets a good 50 with the mash. Kicks straight out to Tani, who's waiting for this. Straight down off the crossbar. Hits it. Double tap. That is how you take control of a series.
That's
A
a read and
decent
a half from
50.
Tani. He just reads the down bounce and he's there in the air already waiting as it lands. That is not something I'd be expecting of a player from this tier, but these guys are surprising me with every single play.
It was not a double tap. That is my mistake. It was, of course. Wait, it was a double tap. I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
He touched it, but it was an assist from Kincaid that set all that up. There's another chance here for Kincaid. Gets a pass out from Tani. Dunks on the defender, going up 3-0 in 1 minute into the game. What is happening in Slifer's mind right now? What do you think they're thinking?
Yeah. He was just sort of putting himself in that spot to be able to make things happen. And look at this scoreline, though, Actor. 3-0 for Erna Tribe. This is the sort of performances that we were expecting after we saw them in the previous game, in the previous series rather. And they've certainly managed to keep the high scoring bit going from the end of the last game.
I mean, there's plenty of time left for Slifer. They could easily bring this back, but the aggression, the pace from Erna Tribe is kicked up so much. Look at this. Frizzle cutting across the midfield to get to the corner on this. Do not want to give Slifer any time of day, any time on the ball whatsoever. As Tiny pulls two, fakes them out. Frizzle had the chance there, but didn't push as much as he did a moment ago. Kincaid went back for this, gets a good 50, keeping the pressure on the Slifer side. Tiny gets a touch out to the corner, but Stenos is there. So is Frizzle, dunking over one another. Slifer are looking scared right now.
Yeah, and they should be, because Erna Tribe shown that they're not hesitant to go for any ball that's loose. Stenos looking awkward. He lands on the ball and the ball sits, so thankfully saved by Nash.
That was Stenos,
That
and the
was
next
looking
person
heavy.
to touch it was Stenos after 4 players flew by it. But another chance for Aaron Tribe here. 1v1 as Frizzle tries to kick it over. Stenos doesn't have the angle as Tanich keeps the pressure going up the sidewall, mashes it front post. Is taken out. Kincaid goes up for this.
Oh,
Wanted to go for the double tap. Almost got the dunk on Bokaj. Was a bit awkward going for that clear. Mash misses. This forces Tani into a 50.
wow.
Stenos is not there. 4-0 lead
just
for
when
Aaron
Slifer
Tribe.
think they have a chance to counter-attack, Frizzle gets a great 50 on. The ball pinches middle, and you've already got Tani turning, expecting that 50 to go in their favor. And he just manages to be that last man and put that through.
I would love to see the positioning stats of this game, because I don't think anyone on Aaron Tribe has spent any time in their defensive half whatsoever. They've all been up the field, they've all been keeping pressure, and it's exactly what they needed to beat down this Slifer midfield control. I mean, there was a double commit there, and there's been a couple back and forth in the midfield, but just not being punished by Slifer. They're terrified of what the counter on this Aaron Tribe is capable of, but they do have the pressure here as Mash had a decent chance. Stenos puts it back to mid for Frizzle. Kincaid can't get to it, so Mash has plenty of time and boost to put this across. Beats out one. Bokaj is up for this. Doesn't have the greatest touch. And gets back to it. Dunks over Frizzle, who wasn't reading this. That's a good way to try and get back into this series. They still have time. 3 goals is not that big a deficit for what Slifer is capable of doing, but they're going to need more of that. They're going to need that midfield control.
And it's been tough for them, for Slifer to try and make successive touches while trying to get on that counter attack, because we've seen that Erna Tribe are happy to turn back and just make that challenge, and to stop the counter attack before it even gets started properly. This time around, they managed to get a few touches on the ball together, and then that dunk comes out at the end.
Head over to Frizzle, who beats one, but he doesn't have the control to
Stenos?
pull it up. Stenos misses off the wall, which still puts the pressure on for them. Tani gets it to the mid. Bokaj has to deal with it again, but it can only pass it out to Kincaid, who tries to control this with the double tap. Gets 50'd again. Frizzle out to the mid for Tani. Open chance.
Oh, wow.
Top right corner. Stenos can't read it quick enough. I think the ball spent about 10-15 seconds in that one corner, and the only result Was Tani waiting out for this, did push as the third man, but knew that his team were going to rotate. 3 assists for Frizzle and 4 goals for Tani. This is unstoppable
Just an
offense at the moment.
insane team performance by Erna Tribe. Tani, of course, we've seen him more often in his role as the last man today, but showing that he can get it done where he needs to. Stinos,
Ooh.
though, not expecting that ball to come back into him. Still had that flip and almost put it center, but there's no chance any of his team would have been prepared for that.
We were up from this from Erna. This gives Slifer a bit of a chance to push it up the field, but Mash puts it high and he hasn't got the boost to get back to it. Leaves it for his teammate Stinos, who kicks it to the corner. Frizzle has to wait for this. 50's out to the middle. Kincaid has a control, takes it up to the wall, beats out one. Tiny's on for the second, but gets 50 by Mash straight out to Frizzle, who goes for the shot, but Stinos is there to cover it. And despite the fact that their defense is just starting to kick into gear, I don't think it's going to be enough. It's offense that's been their issue.
Yeah, definitely. I think Erna Tribe making a statement performance here to back up their narrow win in that first game. And this time around, they're showing that they can get it done. And we head to the dying seconds of this game. Long clear from Bokaj. Frizz is up for this, and good touch from him. Mash can get a final shot on, and it's off target. So, Erna Tribe, they're sort of cementing their lead here. They're 2-0 up in that grand final.
That last shot just exemplified exactly what the trouble was for Slifer. They had some decent pushes up the field, and Bokaj did get that beautiful dunk upon Frizzle, but they didn't push up as a team, and they didn't quite have the accuracy that they required, and that they actually showed in the prior game. But Erna double downing on that play style, that heavy pressure coming into the midfield, pushing all three players up, not scared of that quick counter attack that Slifer could have put onto them, and that, like you said, is a statement going into the series, further into the series.
Erna Tribe looking to embody the fact that the best defense is a good offense, and they've certainly not had to spend much time in defense in that game. And that sort of puts so much pressure on Slifer as well. The few chances that they do get to counterattack, they know that they have to really make them count. Otherwise, Erna Tribe could possibly, just counterattack and take it right back into the other end and score. And when you've got that much pressure, you're going to make mistakes, and you'll probably not be able to get as much control and accuracy as you want in your offensive pushes. So game 3 now. Can Slifer answer back? They're 2-0 down. If they lose this one, they'll be facing 3 match points, and I'm sure they don't want that.
With each passing game and each passing goal that Erna puts in, my prediction of a game 7 is fading away. But Slifer, hoping that they don't fade away, they want to burn out if they're going to, and they could have got a chance there, but Mash got bumped on that kickoff goal attempt. Stinos gets a good 50 here. Frizzle managed to deal with this. Doesn't like it, but Bokaj get the shot out. All 3 Erna Tribe players in their own half. Just resetting for a second, trying to get boost, but Mash dunks one over Tani. Kincaid's waiting for this. Tani cut to try and deal with that, but Stinos puts it to the back ball, couldn't quite get back to it. Frizzle pushes up the field now.
A little bit surprised there from Slifer, who didn't sort of push on that after Frizz was last man in net. They sort of rolled back to it a little bit and let Frizz clear things out.
It's an issue that we saw in the last game as well, just not committing to your opportunities. I was assuming that the opponent's got an opportunity to push up the field like right now, and Kincaid did get a decent shot on that. Wasn't quite enough power. It was stopped by Mash, but he demoed out Mash, and his teammates could not do what he did. Could not stop this second man offense. Shot from Tani, blistering, just like perfectly placed. Once again, just exactly where it needed to be to beat that defense, and it's what he's been doing the whole series.
Yeah, Tani again sort of boosting his offensive repertoire here. He shows that he can sort of find that accuracy when it matters. Both Tani and Kincaid up for this, as we've seen these numerous aerial plays here from Erna Tribe. They're happy to send 2 men up in the air and leave that third man back. And it's worked out for them so far. They're 2 games up. They're up in this third game. They're really sort of asking Slifer the question, like, is there anything you can do to punish us? Otherwise, we'll just keep doing what we've been doing so far.
And it's working out. Shyness is not their issue, but Bokaj has a passing option in the middle. Stinos puts it wide as that came off the backboard. Bokaj probably should have passed that straight instead of trying to flick over the defender. And it was a missed opportunity for them. But they do have it back up the field here. Bokaj doesn't read that, instead decides to go for the boost, but Mash keeps the pressure. No third man to push this. There's two players from Slifer push onto that. Communication seems to be an issue right now.
No one challenging Kincaid on that clear attempt as well. So Slifer, they need to try and sort of be a little bit more aggressive. Obviously not overcommit, but just try and challenge the defense of Verna Tribe when they're trying to break out, if they have any hope of turning the series around.
Bokaj again opts to go for the solo play, gets beaten out by Kincaid, who kicks it across the field. Frizzle's there for the touch, doesn't quite get the angle or the power that he needs, but again, Bokaj just throwing away possession. Tani would have never gotten to this 50. He did win the 50, but they need to control it out of their own back line so much more, because that's what's giving Erina Tribe these opportunities to push up the field as two-man and pass to one another, you know, between the defenders on Slifer.
Yeah.
He's touch across Mash, but Bokaj is there
That's
to follow
on
it.
target.
Puts it across the far corner, forces
Is
two
there a
defenders
Slifer
up.
player? No.
But Stinos didn't push for that. Chance here for
Oh,
Frizzle.
wow.
Beats out Bokaj. Mash backflips. Not sure if he had the boost to deal with this. He did. He had about 60 in the tank. Doesn't jump for it. Panic defense.
Yeah, maybe a
Puts,
backflip.
Slifer down 2-0.
Yeah, it's just strange that Frizzle managed to get to that ball off the sidewall before any of the Slifer team could, but they've all been a little bit too passive for my liking. They need to know that they need to change up everything to be able to have a chance. Obviously, what they've done in that first couple of games hasn't worked for
Oh.
them. Oh my. Was that two defenders missing, both trusting each other to be able to get that touch, potentially?
Well, I think Tani was already rotating back, didn't get to the corner boost, didn't have the boost to get to that, and Frizzle, it looked like he was on 0 boost as well. Well, he had about maybe 13 boost at the end of that play, and he trusted his teammate to get the first touch, but he wasn't there. Closing the gap with 2 minutes left for Slifer.
Oh,
Stinos
no.
goes up for an arrow play.
no.
Comes off of him as it hits Frizzle, goes to the
Oh.
backboard. Tani misses an open net chance. That could very much come back to bite them in a one-goal game. Uncharacteristic
Oh,
from Tani,
my.
but he gets another chance here as Slifer just give this one away. They got so lucky on that. I mean, it was a good pass from Kincaid.
Bokaj a little bit awkwardly positioned, possibly not expecting one of the Arena Tribe to just completely attack that ball without consequences. But they've been doing that all series, all throughout the playoffs and possibly throughout the league play as well. So they need to try and just get any touches that they can on the ball to make sure that the Arena Tribe player doesn't sort of manage to get a shot off on target.
They have to be more aggressive and cut out that shooting angle, that opportunity. If you give your opponent too much time, as you can see, they score more goals on you. Mash goes up for this, gets 50 with Kincaid. But again, Bokaj left as the third man. Frizzle going for a flip reset play. Did get the reset, didn't get the second touch though. Tani's waiting for this to get the best touch. Mash pushes up the field. Bokaj with a chance to shot
There it
across
is.
far left corner, bottom corner. Frizzle cannot get to this. This all started with Tani's touch. They're finally getting punished for it.
Yeah, and Kincaid was sort of waiting on that play off the backboard as well. And before they've managed to get away with it, like you said, but now Slifer are making them pay.
Important that they started doing it in this game, not just reset for the next one. As Arena Tribe could change it up to try and beat them out, but Mash has a chance here, has boost, has the passing option in the middle, but chooses to go off the backboard. Tani misses it, Dinos with a chance, but Frizzle's there. Bokaj has to follow up to the corner. Again, just lack of control from the Slifer players means they're losing out on a lot more opportunities. Stinos goes up for this, forces 200 Tribe players up. Frizzle gets the first touch. But again, out to the middle, Kincaid going for disruption. Another double commit from Slifer, but they win it out this time. Open net chance for Mash.
No, Mash.
Doesn't get the touch that he needs. Cannot equalize. I was saying earlier it could be a big miss from Erina to not get that cushion goal, but that's an even bigger miss from Slifer to not get the equalizer. That's got to be a dagger.
Yeah, that would have leveled
But
things
wait.
up, but it does anyways. Tani
There's more.
backflips.
As Mash did earlier, forces his opponent to backflip as well. Tani panicking. Didn't actually have any boost to deal with it anyway. Probably wouldn't have got up. They're getting away with these misses.
Yeah,
Both
and
teams.
and we've seen Arena Tribe just happily sort of aggress any balls, but now that Slifer have managed to close things down, whether we'll see a more reserved Arena Tribe come out it's left to be seen. Yeah.
Still 5 seconds left. Chance for Frizzle, but he gets beaten out by Bokaj. Up to the back wall. Kincaid can't deal with it. Tani has to do it. It's still on the field. Overtime.
The first one this series, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Didn't
Slifer
expect it.
showing that they've got something in them. They've managed to take it to overtime against Erna Tribe. That'll be a good positive motivator for them, but they really need that result, and they get it.
12 seconds into overtime. Slifer have woken up. Bokaj with 7 shots to 2 goals. Wasn't quite the accuracy that they require, but it was enough. They flipped the script on their opposing team, going 4-3 in that game, like the first game. But they're keeping
Yeah,
themselves alive. They're still not on match point now.
scrappy play there at the post, and it works in their favor as well. But that's all it takes. Just one game could kickstart the comeback for Slifer. They're just one game behind now. Potentially another 4 games left to play. 2-1 in this series at the moment. And it'll be interesting to see how Slifer try and capitalize on their momentum.
I mean, there were so many things to unpack in that game. A couple of massive open net misses. I mean, Mash kind of had a bad touch, and I don't think he quite expected to have the ball on his hood that quickly, and he probably would have put it away if he was a bit more ready for it. But Tani missing that goal, I said it would come back to bite him, and it did. Losing that game could be important now that they're not on match point. They could end up fighting for their season if Slifer try and find or bottle the momentum that they have here going further into the series. But Game 7's still on the cards, and I'm not
It
bowing
is
down from that.
indeed. It is indeed, and that was crucial for Slifer to get that game on the board. It'll certainly cast some doubts in the Arena Tribe's mind. They were looking so confident, coming off a strong win in that semi-final, being the more warmed up team as well. But Salifa just asking that question again with their performance in the previous game. I think I'm not sure if I've done a Mickey and joined the team.
Predicting the results.
Yeah, I just accidentally hit my controller.
That'll matter in the 0 second when it's a close game. But a chance here for Bokaj as he kicks it up the field off the backboard. Stinos follows this, but doesn't get the best touch. Wanted to try and get that on target. Kincaid follows that up with an even worse touch, it seemed, as Stinos gets bumped out of midfield by his teammate Bokaj. There's a chance here for Tani. Bokaj tries to get out, doesn't get the chance. Oh, that was very close.
And you'd certainly
Mash up
expect,
the
oh
field.
wow, have they turned this around? No, they haven't. And I was going to say that Tani, you'd definitely expect him to be making contact on that pass that he had previously. The level that he was bringing to the team as well, and the overall level of the Arena Tribe. They look a little bit more shaky at the moment. But whether they can find things when it matters is left to be seen.
As we were talking about before, saying that both these teams are asking each
Oh,
other
wow.
questions as to whether or not you can deal with what we've got.
Bokaj.
But fortune favours the bold.
It was so good to see as well. Bokaj saw that extra space that he had there. He took that extra second to control himself and get the bounce shot. Almost pays off for them, but just bounces out of the crossbar. Frizzle as well, off the near post.
Starting to lose count of how many times the posts have been battered in this game already. As both teams looking a little bit more shaky on offense. Double tap off the backboard. No one was there to
There's
cover
that
it.
confidence.
Which means that Slifer still have the pressure here. Stinos off the crossbar again. Mash can't read it. Neither defense is having to deal with these right now.
So many tempting balls going across the net, off the posts. And Slifer are definitely playing a lot more confident than they were earlier on.
So many shots across the bow, just skirmishing at the moment. I was going to mention it earlier in the game as Mash goes for a chance here. I think he got the flip reset, but he didn't need it as it was a light touch, deceiving the defender off the backboard.
Yeah, Kincaid off the back wall. He was really hoping for that one to roll out, I think. But it just comes straight down off the ceiling. And Mash is there to read it. And he doesn't need much power, he just needs accuracy in that spot.
As I was saying, both teams have shown their offensive prowess. Going forward, Bokaj going for another double tap. It's a double commit. Open net chance for Tani. Can he get back to this? No, it rolls up the wall. He puts it back to mid. Frizzle goes up for this. No one to cover it. Frizzle puts it
Oh,
down.
that's a shot.
Bokash
What a
just off the goal
save.
line. But Tanny still has the pressure. Steals has to deal with it on the
And the
backboard. He
shot.
doesn't. Kincaid is there. Mashes all the way in the back of his net. Not on the goal line. Poor positioning from him. Equalizes this game for the Erina tribe. And for the third time, I'll try and say it. Both these teams have had such strong offenses that both of them will be looking to be a bit more conservative. I feel like they'll not be pushing up and being aggressive, sending that third man nearly as much as you might expect, because they just don't want to make those mistakes and leave their back line so open.
Yeah, that's what you'd certainly expect to see. I think Erna Tribe, obviously, that sort of affects the rotation a little bit more because it's a aggressive push. What's happened here, though? Miss from Tani, but I don't think any of the Slifer boys expected that to happen. And there was nobody there. It would have been a simple tap in as well.
You know, so has to be careful with this touch off the back wall. Ask Bokash to come up and deal with it. Two players go up, don't get anything from it, but it's a pass out to mid from Mash. Frizzle gets the touch out to Kincaid, who could have passed it mid, but puts it on target instead, which forces two
Oh,
defenders to go up for this. Mash is already up the field, doesn't need the touch for it to go in. And just as we were saying, that the aggression is what could be the downfall for these teams. If they do not leave someone back and rotate properly, they're just going to leave massive gaping gaps in their back line and eventually an open net chance, as we've seen now.
yeah, and it's a long shot that finds the mark as well. After several sort of close chances that they've had of rattled the woodwork, it's taken a long shot of all things to get through the defense.
These guys aren't playing the long game, they're not playing possession or dribbling, it's all about long shots, sniping across the field, heavy clears, but a couple 50s in the midfield comes out the best for Erina as Bokash has to put that to the side. Tani has a chance here, puts it to the crossbar. Frizzle doesn't read it as the defense were all backed up in their own net, couldn't deal with a shot on target if it came. Kincaid tries to keep the pressure, bounce pass into the middle. Frizzle's up for this. 50s with Bokash, had to be there. Tani puts this across, doesn't have the passing option yet. He does now. Kincaid to the mid, another one to the mid. Frizzle pushing up as third man again. So many shots coming out from Erina, but only half of them seem to be on target so far.
There is. I was just sort of watching and seeing if there was any other Slifer players who was able to come off the backboard and clear that, because otherwise that would have been so dangerous. But luckily Mash saw that danger happening and just booms the ball out. Oh,
I was about to say, it can be so scary when you get into that situation when a team's every second or third touch is a shot on target, but a shot from Bokash here, beating out Kincaid. Great path down from Mash, forces that defender to come out early, but it leaves it open for the early shot. 3-1 lead for Slifer. This is exactly what they needed going into game 4.
Yeah, they've had the most part of the momentum for the last sort of couple of games. Obviously, edging that narrow win after coming back against Erina Tribe in that last game, and then this one as well. They've looked a lot more confident. They've trusted themselves to make those plays in the offensive half, and Erina Tribe unfortunately haven't been able to find the level that they're looking for as well.
Erina don't seem to have learned from their mistakes in the last game, going down 4-3, that they're getting beaten out on those counter-attacks when they're leaving the back line open. As Mash gets a great 50 here, almost got the double tap off, but Tani's there to cover. It won't matter in the grand scheme, but it's the confidence that we're seeing from Slifer. They're going for these shots. Mash can't quite get to this as it dies, but Slifer takes that game. I believe we're now at 2-2 in the series, and like we've said it before, this could go either way. Third and fourth seed, it doesn't matter. These teams are trying to figure one another out, and it's going back and forth every single game.
Yeah, and Erina Tribe, again, this result reinforces that they cannot sort of overcommit players. They cannot sort of try those cherry pick plays that have worked for them previously, because Slifer are looking like a completely different team in these last couple of games. They've been looking much more confident. They've made the saves when they needed to, and just had such a dominant performance in the offensive half, just peppering their backboard with shot after shot. This time, actually finding the mark as well. I think before they were sort of getting shots off and there was nobody to follow up, but these ones are a lot more successful as well. So all level, as you said, Vector, your prediction of Game 7's looking more and more likely as as we go on.
Couple more matches.
Can Erina Tribe counter this momentum that Slifer has built up? It might have all been from Erina Tribe being more warmed up in those first couple of games. and it'll be interesting to see how they respond in this next one.
That was an effect that we talked about, that it could have made the difference, and it seemed to in the first two games. But Slifer have brought this back. They're making this into a competition. They do not want to go down quietly, and they're looking to take the lead over their opponents in this crucial Game 5, which could decide the series overall. But you feel like they've been the ones that have been doing the homework in those brief 60-second moments between each game. They've been reading the Aaron Tribe play so well as Bokash goes for a shot here. Frizzle had to deal with it, kicks it out to Mash, who puts it back to the midfield. Stinos is the third man, but he misses this. Kincaid open net chance. Once again, the aggressive play style comes back to haunt them as Stinos misses that off the sidewall, and Kincaid with a free shot, putting them up 15 seconds in.
Yeah, bit of a misplay there from Stinos. Obviously, not making contact on that ball, but I think the ball was headed a little bit further away from him. Just tried to rotate back after seeing Bokaj rotating away on the other half. And Kincaid reads the miss well and puts one on target. And the open nets, they do matter. And luckily, Aaron Tribe managed to get one on.
Bokash came off the back wall there to try and deal with that. Didn't
too
get
committed again.
Stinos with a chance here, tries to flick over Tani. Almost took out the best defender that we've seen in the minor playoffs today. Frizzles up for that, covers that. All three players on Aaron Tribe in the corner. Kincaid comes out of that.
Oh no.
Okaj with the miss, similar to Stinos, is in the midfield, but he puts it up to the field for Mash, puts it back down to the middle for Mash again. Great passing from Slifer, but just nothing coming out of it so far. Stinos gets it to the mid, Frizzles up for this as well as Mash, beats him out. Bokac has to push for this, gets it past one waiting up the field for Mash, he puts it in. Staying up the field is so important when those chances come through. That was so strange
from Tani. He sort of pushed out despite seeing that Bokaj had the contact on the ball, and he was going to be heading towards him. And just Tani driving towards that seems a little bit strange, because he's going to have to try and wait for a shot or a pass. And having momentum away from the net is not a good thing to have when you've got a ball headed towards there.
Yeah, I think he assumed that he had the third man cover if he got beat out, but he didn't know that Mash was behind him. Game sense wasn't quite there. Not realizing that there's a striker waiting, lurking behind the back line. But Tony goes for a pass into the midfield here. Kincaid just misses out, as Mash was second favourite to that play, but he managed to get it out. Frizzle with great control here, flicks it over one onto the sidewall, but Mash has to deal with it. Tani goes up for this, puts it to the middle, no one waiting back for it yet. Frizzle tries to keep control in the middle, just flicks it up to Stinos, who loses possession to Kincaid, but it's straight back up to the sidewall. Stinos puts it mid for Mash, who misses out, but Bokash has the chance to free play this. Kincaid's waiting for it. Frizzle in an awkward position again, as he was just about 5-6 seconds prior. Kincaid has the control, puts it to middle. Tani backflips on this, so the pressure isn't as strong from Aaron as it could be. 50 in the midfield.
Kincaid the last one didn't have that boost though to make contact. And they've managed to recover well though off that play. Frizzle now with the opportunity, and Bokat shuts him down. I think Arena Tribe have managed to get close, but they've been sort of almost punished, so they're not as confident going for their offensive plays as they would be normally.
That's for Stinos. No, puts it back, passes to the wrong player. Kincaid puts it across middle, expecting one of his teammates to be there. They're not there. Bokash has a free chance for this. Goes for the flip reset, gets it, but it's just blocked out by Kincaid, who kicked it up to Frizzle. Mash the chance, and he front flips. I need to watch his perspective.
I think it was a double commit for the save attempt. I think Tani jumped up for that, and he just wasn't able to recover.
He flipped sideways. Oh, he was expecting something else. And that's an unfortunate way for them to go down in this game. But Slifer taking those opportunities, waiting for those mistakes. Been some really strong midfield play, getting those 50s that they're looking for. As well as the backboard play, Swan kicks out to Bokash, there's a chance, but the first man, Tani, deals with it, puts it across to the side. Can't get the second touch though, Stinos goes for a double tap off the wall. Leaves it out for Frizzle.
Has control now. Here, but no boost, I don't think. I think the Slifer defender was a little bit further back, and if Frizzle had boost, that would have been a very dangerous scenario, but importance of boost management there as well.
Stinos gets it past one, Mash gets past the second.
Oh, that's a great demo on the line.
Stinos and Bokash go for it at the same time, but it doesn't matter. The defense wasn't there. both Aaron and Tribe players are pushed up the field, and all Mash had to do was get rid of that deadly defender Tani, and they go up with a 2-goal cushion and only a minute 35 left to go.
Wow, what a change up from the first couple of games. Erina Tribe looking like a much more nervous team as well, and Slifer just looking like a completely dominant team. They've managed to put some great performances here in these last couple of games to get that lead back, and they're actually threatening Erina Tribe. As I say that, what a passing play. Frizz out to Kincaid. Kincaid with the top corner banger.
I think Tani will be angry that he missed that shot. I don't know if it was intentional to put it up to the backboard. If he did take the shot on, he would have had to get past 3 defenders, but he pulled one out. Got it across to Frizzle, then put it across to Kincaid. Closes that gap a little for his team with only a minute left to go. And they do have the pressure here.
Indeed, but they're having to come back from behind, which is not a familiar situation for this team and in the playoffs so far, especially after Slifer looked so different. Erina Tribe, they'll have to adapt though. Slifer has definitely shown that they've got the level. They've won a couple of games against them to level things up, and it looks like they might even end up taking the lead and go on to match point ahead of Erina Tribe, which did not look like that was a possibility.
air dribbling.
Yeah, this feeling so confident just going for their plays. We saw a flip reset attempt from them earlier as well, and air dribbles now. They're just sort of hitting their stride when it matters.
Leaves it for his teammate Mash behind him. Whilst 50 with Frizzle gets the best of it though. Kincaid up to the backboard. There's no one there to cover it. Bokash goes up, misses it, but no pressure from Erina.
Yeah, just so strange. You'd expect both players to be throwing themselves at that, but neither player going for it this time around. They're the ones behind.
Chance.
Oh,
and he only just gets back to that. There's still pressure for Slifer here. Mash puts it to the sidewalk. Kincaid has to push this up the field right now.
That's
Frizzle
gone.
with a bad rotation. Tani can't get there. It's still up, but it's on target for Slifer as they put the final nail in the coffin for this game. They've taken control of this series.
Exactly. What is going on? After the first couple of games, we thought that Erina Tribe had this in the bag, and Slifer taking the last 3 games on the trot. They've just gone for their plays. They felt confident in themselves. They've just sort of mentally reset each other, and yeah, they're the ones on match point now, heading into game 6.
So I don't know if we can just take a breather, just calm it down a little bit.
Yeah,
it's quite heated right now with the series being so close, and just go back to an earlier game in the series where Erina Tribe scored 3 goals in a minute. They looked so dominant over Slifer's defense and midfield play. I just like the transition from that. If you look at like a bar graph, a scale of how the control went between, it would just be mountains and valleys, and I don't understand where the difference is. I mean, there's been no substitutions, obviously, but Slifer's striking has been so much stronger. The boost game has clearly been much stronger with them being so much more confident going for the air dribbles and the aerial play. I think Stino's air dribbles better than I do. So
probably same for me.
for a minor player, I want to say it's uncharacteristic. It's like they're playing above their level and they're showing that they can beat out Aaron Tribe, who is supposedly a higher seed than them, better in league play. But the head-to-head was quite close, as we talked about. And we'll just have to see how we go forward, as Slifer is now on match point. If they win this game, they win Challenger. And that's going to be right at the forefront of the mind of Arena Tribe as they try and get a game back and push us to game 7.
Yeah, Erina Tribe, they'll have to just turn things around here. Slifer looking very strong. I think initially, as we sort of mentioned, they might not be warmed up, but we also knew that Erina Tribe's offense just likes to go all out, send 2 men for the same ball, and it worked out for them. But eventually, it was going to catch up. And Stinos, I think he's known for his pep talks. He's known to get his boys to just reset, spot the mistakes, and go again. And obviously, they've managed to not give up on anything, and they're now on match point.
I can somewhat personally attest to that with Stinos being my GM the last 2 seasons. But he's showing his value in game more than out of game right now. He could be coaching these guys in between the games, and that could be what the difference is for Slifer as Mash tries to push up the field and keep that offense. But they're being a little bit more conservative Stinos expecting kind of a fake play for that. Bokaj up for this. Stinos was off the backboard, but Kincaid dealt with it well, put it to the side. Still pressure on for them though. Smash gets the demo on the third
Oh
man
wow.
defense, and Stinos reads it perfectly. That is a great way to go ahead.
They've spotted
Kincaid, oh,
Tanny
he
as the
dealt with
main
this.
defender as well. They've taken him out twice in a row, and both times they've yielded goals. Arena Tribe relies so strongly on their three-man rotation, but with that one main defender Tanny out the picture, the defense just gets a lot weaker for Arena Tribe.
There's a whiff on the goal line.
Oh wow.
Tiny tries to deal with it, but Bokash puts it onto the net, hits the crossbar twice as it bounces out instead of in for him. That's unfortunate. And Kay puts it to the corner, doesn't have the control, and Bokash is off the backboard, but puts it straight up to the middle for Priz. Chance here. Steals his back though. Weak shot. Tiny puts it across the mid. Kincaid is not there to follow. He has to deal with this coming off the back wall. Doesn't get the greatest touch, but Frizzle's there to deal with it. Puts the pressure back on Slifer off the backboard.
And this is all the scoreline that Slifer needed at the end of the day to be able to just take the grand finals, take the minor league, and go ahead. So all the more pressure on Arena Tribe to just really try and find the gap, but they're just leaving so many gaps in their side as they try and push out, not
It's
making
so much
contact.
worse.
And I think
for Erna as
Slifer's
well.
looking so strong, aren't they? They've sort of made that issue happen for Arena Tribe to be able to really ask the question: can they tighten things up when it matters?
Well, we highlighted it after game 2 and the beginning of game 3 that they needed to be a lot more aggressive. They needed to send that player to
Oh, that's a
force
good
the
shot.
chance, to force the offense to make a more difficult opportunity. But a 3-man commit from Slife here gives Aaron Tribe so much time. Tiny didn't get the greatest touch, but he goes up for this. Kincaid out of the play. Frizzle hasn't got the angle to put a straight shot on, so he takes it up the wall. Tries to play this across the mid, almost on target. Neither Bokach or Stenos can deal with this as Tiny puts it back across both of them again, but no one's there to follow. Kincaid gets it to mid. Frizzle cannot push.
And the
Stenos missed
clock
it a fall.
not
The
on
clock
Arena's
is
side. Yeah,
completely
that
against them.
pressure comes out as they get more and more desperate. But the Slifer defense holding so strong, and this might actually
Oh!
be in. Yep, it is. Slifer
Kincaid,
2-0 up now.
Kincaid. He had plenty of boost, but there's nothing he could do. All he had to do
Yeah.
was he had to try and get a 50 as he jumped off the wall, but he gets a double touch there, takes his teammate out of the play, leaves a pretty much open net for that double commit offense on Slifer. But it doesn't really matter that they're double committing because they're 2-0 up with less than 2 minutes to go.
Yep. Herna Tribe.
And another
They are
chance.
staring down a barrel here as Stenos adds to their lead.
Again, Kincaid,
Wow.
last man, can't deal with it. Mash and Stenos linking up there for a very close play. Not social distancing as they should be. They don't care. They're winning challenger minor playoffs as it stands. And it's something that I was going to mention. Obviously, Aaron Tribe have to push for this. They're behind in the series and they're behind in the game.
Oh.
But if they leave those gaps open at the back, they're so open for these counters. There's another one coming here, but Kincaid managed to control it. Bo catches up first, beats him out off the backboard. He could probably get a second touch here. Doesn't manage it. Tani takes control of that. Gets 50 by Mash, so it loses control again. Frizzle goes up for this. Third man defender is always there. Forced Lifer, they've figured out that issue. And it's been the difference maker.
Yeah, definitely having that defender there in the rotation, just tightening everything up, making sure that Arena Tribe don't have an easy open shot. And yes, Life are looking good to take this one.
If you look at the stats, Kincaid, 5 saves. He's been the only one, it feels like, defending on his team. He's been left back as third man so much. They can't deal with it. He tries to get a demo on Bokash to open up the chance, but he jumps over him. It's Kincaid again, last man having to deal with this. He's got the boost to clear it, but he gets 50 out by Marshall, pushes it back to the mid. Bokash is already up for that. He wasn't even across the goal line yet. It's trying to get a bullying bump on Mash, puts him back to his own side of the field as Tani goes to disruption play. Mash 50's out for result, and that's probably going to do it with only 10 seconds left. A 3-goal deficit is insurmountable for Arena Tribe. As Slifer Coming
What an
in,
impressive turnaround for
it's
them.
that fourth seed. I believe it was Stenstrand that were fourth seed in Challenger as well, and they also won playoffs. So we've got a definite pattern here. The fourth
Yeah,
seed is going to win every tier. That's the prediction so far.
yeah. I think Stenstrench were fourth on goal difference, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, you're right. It's just so strange that we'd sort of see the players who are sort of finishing in the lower end of the playoff qualification spots end up beating at the teams who are placed higher than them. But they've really played up to the level that could be expected for them, even going beyond on some of the mechanics that they've been able to come up with, and Slifer as well. It's just I just want to know what happened in the after that second game when they lost in such a dominant fashion to earn a tribe. Hopefully, we can get someone in for an interview and ideally Stinos to try and explain the reasoning behind what changed things up for them.
I'm just contacting him now, but as we do, I just want to talk about the fact that I mean, besides all the 4C stuff, as we were saying going into playoffs, we say it over and over, is that it doesn't really matter where you come as the seed because it's about what
Hey,
you do in the playoffs in the elimination brackets. And as we do, we have Stinos here with us, the winner of
Stinos.
Minor.
hey.
How do you feel after that series?
Before answering that question, I think my other two teammates are joining one channel here, and they should be dragged in. As I'm saying that, they're being dragged in.
Oh no, we have to deal with three players instead of one.
Oh
Well,
no!
I
Oh
guess we have to
no!
ask all of you,
Outnumbered.
how do you guys feel after that dominating performance in that last game to take the minor playoff title?
Okay, I'll start, and I want to say one thing. I played horrible, and I have my teammates to thank for the victory. It was my series from start to finish. I think I played an okay third guy, but when there was pressure, when I needed to make a shot, I missed. It was just like frustrating, and my teammates picked up the slack very well. And yeah,
Very,
I'm
very
proud of
humble
them.
response.
I am
Yeah,
proud of them.
definitely. But season 5 minor champions. How does that feel, guys?
Very good.
Oh.
Yeah, dude. Very muted response from Vocad.
Yeah.
Always
Is-
professional.
Finally,
yeah.
finally it happened. I've been here 5 seasons. I've never won anything yet.
Well, there we go.
Finally, Vecta with his 2 trophies. So
Oh,
jealous.
I
They're
want
Yeah.
they're
them for
my
you,
banner though. And they're
Stinos.
my
Don't you
Yeah.
banner.
worry. They're not just
The,
mine.
you're
uh,
welcome from me and Mash.
yeah. I'll give you the. Send me the PayPal link and I'll fix it. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
Well,
Stinos, game 2. You've lost in such dominant fashion to earn a tribe for the second game in a row. You know that if you lose the next one, you're facing 3 match points. How did
Yeah.
you guys turn it around and take 4 games back to back?
Like the thing was with Slippery Scooters is that they played very well together, but their definitive offense was very weak. So we decided that I should play a more passive role to make it even more harder for them to score, and we'll find a way to punish their mistakes in offense, which is why we turned that series around. In this series, it was completely different though. Like they made a lot of mistakes that we could punish, but when they finally had a small chance, they plunged on it, like they grabbed it, and it was just nothing we could do. Like their shots were insane in game 1 and 2, and then game 2 game 3 I wanted to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more up there, and I don't know if it was noticed, but we were
yeah,
able to punish their mistakes way more better,
Yeah.
like bad clears from the backboard, awkward touches in the corner. We were able to bounce on that, get a lot of goals of that,
Yeah.
and our momentum
yeah.
carried us through.
We talked about that in the game, at the end of game two, that you need to be a lot more aggressive, that you need to control that positioning and that pressure, and know that you were always challenging at least one of them, so you didn't have time to beat your defense. But despite that, despite the fact that you know your winners going into the playoffs in the fourth seed, what were your expectations? I mean, obviously you wanted to win it all, but going up against Scooters and going all the way to that game five, the pressure must have been immense. How did you handle that? Or how did you
Uh,
feel you handled that?
Well, I think mesh tell. I want to hear from you. Mesh.
Mash, hello.
Hello.
I was muted.
Oh.
uh, hello. What did you want to know?
Coming in as fourth seed and knowing that you had to beat out the first seed and you went all the way to game five in that semi-final, there must have been a ton of pressure on you to perform and get through that. How did you handle that? How do you feel like you managed to break through that barrier, so to speak, and go forward into that grand final?
Yeah, I was just thinking, just play the game, and yeah, I just thinking, just play the game. You never know what will happen, even though you're behind, and if the game are taken each by each, it's just play it, and
Yeah,
you will
Absolutely
like
right.
see. So most of the time it doesn't pay out like my ranked history, but most of it. But yeah, this time it just worked.
And I
I
must have
wanna
it before.
yeah, like,
I
but
don't
the thing was with this season for us is that at the start we looked so dominant. We 3-1 like 5 times in a row, and the games we lost were because we were swapping out people, even if we were winning, to get like everyone to play a lot, because that's how I govern at least this team. I want every 4 players to play as much as possible. With Asterix internet crashing, we kind of had to play the whole playoffs with us three. Asterix could sadly not get a game in, but shout out to Asterix, he's still part of this team, and this trophy is earned by him as well. He has done some good work scheduling as team captain, and I'm happy that he was on the team. But yeah, like it's just all came crashing down in mid-season. Like we were so dominant, we were first place easy, and then mid and end season we just started losing a lot. And I never like stopped thinking like, oh, we're worse than the others. I was always like, wait, we showed that at the start of the season we could like be super dominant, and I think we returned to form just in time for playoffs.
Sorry, just jump in here, Stinos. I honestly think that the reason we started doing that is because we got more comfortable playing with each other, and then our like real play styles were allowed to come out, which is not always a good thing. You know what I mean? Like
Feeling like in a monkey.
it's better sometimes to feel a bit uncomfortable and be able to play really, like concentrated. Whereas when you get really comfortable, you just start messing about. So, don't know. I think
Absolutely.
we played really well.
Complacency
So.
can be a killer, as we've seen in both the Challenger and minor playoffs, with third and fourth seed getting to the grand finals. And of course, the highest congratulations for you guys. I can tell you're a very tight knit group, tight knit roster, and it was enough for you to beat out the supposedly better teams above you in the league. But I hope that you all go out and celebrate this as
Yeah,
best you can, and I really hope to see you next season. To be honest, you've been a great contender.
thanks. Yeah, I'll be here
Yeah.
obviously. Can't kind of leave my franchise, you know.
Yeah.
Would
Oh
be a
God, we'll
problem.
see Stinos again. There's no doubt about that.
Oh no.
Yeah,
With
he's
the
sticking
trophy next
around.
to his name is going to be so much worse. Oh,
I can finally talk.
ah,
I can finally back up my tongue.
goodness.
Everyone, just beware of the
Yeah,
Stinos. Yeah.
thanks for
Yeah,
coming.
great performance today, guys, and congratulations again on the victory.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cheers. Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Of course.
So there we have it. We've got your minor champions, Slifer, and previously in the Challenger series as well, the Challenger playoffs, we had Stench Trench from the Fuzzy Beavers take it all the way as fourth seed as well, and clutch it out in the grand final. So congratulations to both those rosters. Amazing performances from all the teams that played today. Commiserations to those that came short, but hopefully you guys stick around for another season, because obviously your levels were good enough to make it to playoffs, and they were all very, very close games. So I'm sure that there's no regrets after today, and just everybody just pat yourself on the back. Great performances.
Story of the underdogs so far in both Challenger and Minor, and hopefully tomorrow with the Major and Elite playoffs to see, we'll see even more upsets and Cinderella stories. But for now, we would like to end the stream. I've been Vector, he's been Anima, and of course Mickey for hosting and streaming, and Archeon in the background doing so much work that regular viewers don't get to see. He brings it all together, and without him, this really wouldn't be possible. So thank you to him, and thank you to all you out there. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and uh, good night.
See you tomorrow.